Chapter 222. The sudden sneak attack stunned everyone. Everyone knew that the relationship between Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang wasn't bad. Even if the relationship between Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang had fallen out, it wouldn't be to the extent of sneak attacking Tang Wushuang from behind, right? After all, sneak attacking Tang Wushuang in this kind of situation wasn't a glorious thing. With Tang Wushuang's way of doing things, even if he managed to obtain the Xian Yuan sword, he would still fail the aristocratic family's evaluation. There was a problem with the family head's way of doing things. Right now, Tang Wushuang's gaze was no longer on the Xian Yuan sword, he only wanted to kill this ungrateful brother of his. Tang Wushuang! Ling Tian shouted out angrily. He punched out with a ferocious momentum, and the vigorous spiritual energy turned into a giant golden fist. Tang Wushuang's expression turned serious. Pulling out his dagger, he clenched his right hand into a fist and actually punched towards the huge fist. Don't forget, Tang Wushuang is also very strong. Otherwise, the sneak attack wouldn't have gone so smoothly. He wasn't called the king of soldiers for nothing. Boom boom boom. A series of loud explosions rang out, and waves of astonishing spiritual energy swept out in all directions, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. Sun Yi, Hai Daixi, and Guang Tianlu were delighted. This Tang Wushuang could be said to have helped them a lot. The Xianyuan sword in the sky lost control of Xiao Yi and stabbed straight into the ground. Sun Yi was the first to react, and she dashed towards the Xianyuan sword. Hai Daixi and Guang Tianlu who were at the back came back to their senses. They scolded him for being shameless and hurriedly rushed forward. Right now, Xiao Yi was forced back and powerlessly fell to the ground. Blood was gushing out from his chest, but if one looked at his body, they would see a black mist slowly healing. However, Xiao Yi's gaze was fixated on Tang Wushuang's back view. He didn't dare to believe that Tang Wushuang would do such a thing. Sun Yi's speed was extremely fast. She grabbed the hilt of the Xianyuan sword with her delicate hand and pulled it out fiercely. She laughed wildly and said, "The Xianyuan sword belongs to me, Sun Yi." Just as Sun Yi was rejoicing, the three ice-bone dragons charged at Sun Yi fiercely. Sun Yi snorted coldly and waved the Xianyuan sword in her hand. Suddenly, a golden light bloomed, and the three ice-bone dragons were forced to retreat. Guang Tian rode. "What are you trying to do?" Sun Yi questioned coldly. "Sect Master Sun, it's not appropriate for you to snatch it away just like that." Guang Tianlu's calm face revealed his anger. Sun Yi laughed delicately. "Guang Tianlu, when we came here, we already agreed that this Xianyuan sword would belong to whoever snatches it first." Hai Daixi. "What are you standing there for? Grab the sword." Guang Tianlu shouted at Hai Daixi, who was standing at the side. Another card appeared in his hand, and the three ice-bone dragons started to fuse. Their bodies fused together and transformed into three ice-bone dragon kings. Hai Daixi's expression was solemn, his hands quickly forming a seal, coldly shouting, "Ice roar." Huge blocks of ice instantly appeared around Sun Yi, and the surrounding temperature plummeted. Each block of ice contained a vast amount of spiritual qi. Sun Yi, who was in the middle of the formation, was facing the attacks of the two great forces. It seemed that she was not at ease. After all, she had just obtained the Xianyuan sword and did not have the time to decipher its mysteries. Under Guang Tianlu's control, Ice-Bone Dragon King spewed out 3 streams of ice flame. Suddenly, the sky was covered with ice, and the sky that was originally covered with dark clouds was suddenly filled with a blizzard. Hai Daixi. Guang Tian rode. "My Yun sect is irreconcilable with you." Hai Daixi sneered, "Sun Yi. If you obediently hand over the Xianyuan sword, you can still be the sect leader. Otherwise, don't even think about it." The ancient divine beast at the side let out a loud roar, and the might of a divine beast attacked towards the two of them without holding back. The scales on its body actually left its body and flew towards the two of them like a swarm of bees. Hai Daixi and Guang Tianlu's expression tensed up, and they immediately used their martial arts to defend themselves. However, were the scales on the body of the ancient divine beast fake? Obviously not, and the two's defense was instantly destroyed. As expected of Yun Sek's foundation, it cannot be underestimated. Guang Tianlu had no choice but to control Ice Bone Dragon King to attack the ancient divine beast, and the pressure on Sun Fang instantly decreased by a lot. Hai Daisi. Go and die. Sun Fang used the Xianyuan sword in her hand to break through the formation, and pointed the sword at Hai Daisi. Hai Daisi was only a long-range metahuman, and he did not have strong close combat abilities like Death Mage. Thus, he could only choose to dodge. The two of them started a chase. Sun Yi was like a shrew, slashing with the Xianyuan sword, while Hai Daisi was like a bullied husband, dodging in all sorts of ways. Sun Fang, who was chasing after Hai Daisi, suddenly frowned. She felt a sense of danger. A silver needle that was flickering with a cold light pierced into the back of Sun Yi's hand, and she instantly felt numb. The Xianyuan sword in Sun Yi's hand fell onto the ground once again. A black silhouette passed through the air, and the Xianyuan sword that was on the ground instantly disappeared. The three of them stopped attacking each other at the same time and looked at the two people who were walking over from the sky. The back of Sun Yi's hand quickly turned purple. Not daring to be careless, Sun Yi hurriedly swallowed a pill, then sat cross-legged and started refining the pill. Guang Tianlu shouted out gravely, "Saint Dr. Song Huang." Fu Xiu. Fu Xiu could be seen holding onto the Xianyuan sword. Seems like that black silhouette just now was him, and the person who was standing at the side with a smile on his face was precisely Saint Dr. Song Huang. With the title of killing people with his left hand and saving people with his right hand, the title of Saint Dr. Song Huang was extremely famous and resounded throughout the entire north. The only difference between Song Huang and Long Outyan was that one appeared earlier, while the other appeared later. One didn't run into Yi Hua, while the other ran into him. The silver needle just now was shot out by Song Huang, and the silver needle was smeared with deadly poison. Of course, Song Huang would not lick the silver needle himself. Meanwhile, Fu Xiu was just an ordinary family's patriarch. His strength was ordinary, but his speed was extremely fast. He was even able to travel through space while running. His ability was a bit overpowered. Fu Xiu could be seen cupping his hands towards Song Huang, who was standing at the side with a faint smile on his face. "Thank you, Saint Doctor, for lending me a hand. Patriarch Fu is too courteous. Back then, you helped me. Today, I shall return the favor." Song Huang smiled faintly, appearing very amiable. However, only Sun Yi knew how vicious this Saint Doctor was. Song Huang looked at the Xianyuan sword. He didn't want to own the Xianyuan sword. He preferred to live a free and unfettered life. "Since Patriarch Fu has gotten what he wanted, I will take my leave." "Thank you." Just as Song Huang was about to leave, he suddenly frowned. It was the same for Fu Xiu. The Xianyuan sword in his hand was vibrating slightly. What was going on? He looked at Xiao Yi, who had fallen to the side. It seemed like he didn't have the strength to control the Xianyuan sword. What was going on? Everyone knew about Fu Xiu. As long as he took something away, it would be very difficult to get it back. After all, his speed was too fast, and there was no way to get it back unless someone was faster. Furthermore, Saint Dr. Song Huang was protecting him, making it even harder to snatch him back. The northern aristocratic families were going back on their words. Sun Yi and the other two were about to go mad from anger. However, the two of them did not leave in a hurry after snatching it. Their expressions were very strange. "Fu Xiu. There is a problem with this Xianyuan sword, quickly throw it away." Song Huang shouted out hurriedly. Without thinking too much, Fu Xiu immediately tossed the Xianyuan sword in his hand out. When Guang Tianlu saw the Xianyuan sword that was in the air, he immediately controlled Ice Bone Dragon King to bite onto the Xianyuan sword. Xianyuan sword belongs to Guang family. Guang Tianlu had a happy look on his face, and he looked as if he was about to go crazy. However, everyone didn't look at Guang Tianlu. Instead, they looked at the Xianyuan sword that was in Icebone Dragon King's mouth. The body of the sword was trembling very intensely, as if it was being pulled by a powerful force. Boom! Chapter 223. Longpan City, Leisure Bar. 10 minutes ago, Yi Hua was currently sitting on the sofa in his bedroom with both of his legs placed on the coffee table and silently smoking. The family conflict caused Yi Hua to suffer unspeakably. Both of my hands are flesh, what choice do I have? Impossible, how can I give up my woman? Even if I die, I have to pull her up and continue to be my woman. But these two women are really annoying, one wants to split the child, the other would rather die than submit. How can their personalities be so unyielding? They don't have the gentleness that a woman should have. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Suddenly, Wei Chang appeared behind Yi Hua and shouted out respectfully. What's the matter? Yi Hua asked faintly. Hearing his honor's tone, I can tell that his mood isn't very good. I am also very depressed, Xiao Tang is ignoring me today. How can Tang Wei not be angry? We can clearly live together, but suddenly, two non-mainstream people appeared. Uncle Wei's male chauvinism is too serious. Wei Chang said lightly, Your Honor, subordinate said that I left a bit of aura on Xianyuan's sword for your honor to play with, and now, the time is ripe. Oh, that Xiao Yi is going to die again? Yi Hua asked faintly. The situation isn't very optimistic, but he can still keep his life. Yi Hua shook his head, seems like I overestimated this Xiao Yi, he can't even kill a few people. It is precisely because of this that his honor is able to play around. After all, his honor's mood isn't very good these few days, killing a few people can relieve your mood. Wei Chang bowed his body and laughed lightly. As a subordinate, I have to make my boss happy. If I were to use this kind of effort to treat Tang Wei would probably be touched to death and directly push Wei Chang down. Yi Hua sighed, but his mood isn't very good. I'll just play around then. Wei Chang, it seems like you understand me well. Then, subordinate will not disturb his honor's fun anymore, I will take my leave. After finished speaking, Wei Chang disappeared from the bedroom. Yi Hua waved his hand, then began searching for the aura that Wei Chang left behind. Very quickly, he found it. There aren't many people here, killing them won't be of any use. That Xiao Yi is just like a salted fish that is lying on the ground, I am truly disappointed. Yi Hua could be seen raising his hand and stretching out his index finger, intending to control Xianyuan's sword from a distance. Hee, this Xianyuan sword actually dares to resist, interesting, but in front of me, Xianyuan's sword. In just a few moments, Yi Hua had already infiltrated into the interior of Xianyuan's sword. Right now, Yi Hua was lying on the sofa with his eyes closed, and his index finger was slowly moving, as if he was recalling something, recalling those people's terrified expressions. At the venue, Hai Daisy looked at the Xianyuan sword floating in the air and rushed over, grabbing it. The Xianyuan sword belongs to the Southern Alliance. Everyone remained silent and looked at the Xianyuan sword nervously. What had just happened was too bizarre. The Ice-Bone Dragon King's explosion had injured Guang Tianlu, and Sun Yi was sitting cross-legged to detoxify the poison. There were only a few people present. However, there were a few groups of people hiding in the surroundings. They seemed to want to seize the opportunity to attack, but when they saw the situation, they seemed to calm down. Just as Hai Daisy was overjoyed, the Xianyuan sword in his right hand actually rotated 360 degrees. Ah! Hai Daisy's entire right arm was cut off by the Xianyuan sword. This sudden scene was inconceivable. Xiao Yi was unconscious, so who was controlling the Xianyuan sword? Itself? How could this be? The severed arm flew in the air. Yi Hua's index finger slowly moved, and Xianyuan's sword could be seen turning into afterimages. The entire arm was sliced into powder by Xianyuan's sword. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. Right now, I can't even catch up to the arm anymore. Quickly run. Song Huang shouted out loudly. This is a trap. Fu Xiu's speed was extremely fast, and he disappeared in an instant. Yi Hua laughed lightly, "You are quite fast." With a wave of Yi Hua's finger, Xian Yuan's sword that was thousands of miles away turned into a golden afterimage and rushed straight towards Fu Xiu. Fu Xiu, who was running frantically, turned his head around to take a look, and his eyeballs almost popped out. That Xian Yuan sword actually caught up to me, and it is even at the same level as me. Furthermore, it even swung the sword's body, as if it was mocking me. How is this possible? Fu Xiu found it hard to believe. Even the experts from aristocratic families don't have a speed like mine. This ancient godly item Xian Yuan sword has such an ability. No. It is definitely being controlled by someone. Xian Yuan sword's speed could be seen becoming even faster. When it arrived in front of Fu Xiu, it suddenly drifted. Puchi. His heart turned cold. Fu Xiu stared at the Xian Yuan sword in his stomach in a daze. He still felt like he was dreaming. Initially, Yi Futian thought that with his speed and Song Huang's protection, the Xian Yuan sword would definitely be able to pierce through Yi Futian's body. And now, the Xian Yuan sword had indeed pierced through Yi Futian's abdomen. The Xian Yuan sword dragged Fu Xiu's body back to the scene. Everyone at the scene thought that the Xian Yuan sword had run away, but they didn't expect the Xian Yuan sword to bring Fu Xiu back. Song Huang's face was filled with shock. He was well aware of Fu Xiu's speed. In terms of speed, not many people could be faster than Fu Xiu. However, such a person was actually pierced by the Xian Yuan sword and brought back. Not to mention himself and the others. Right now, everyone didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. Ling Tian, who was guarding Shao Yi and fighting intensely with Tang Wushuang, also stopped when he saw this scene. The Xian Yuan sword tossed Fu Xiu into the air. Yi Hua's index finger lightly moved, and at the same time, Xian Yuan's sword drew out rays of golden light in the air. Fu Xiu's limbs were amputated in the air, turning into pieces that fell to the ground. It was a chilling scene. Tang Wushuang wasn't in a hurry to think. If he didn't run now, the one who would die later on would be him. Yi Hua closed his eyes and said coldly, trying to run. No one will be able to escape today. Just like Fu Xiu, Tang Wushuang's abdomen was pierced through and brought back. However, Tang Wushuang didn't die, but rather, he was thrown onto the ground. Ling Tian swallowed his saliva. I've tested Tang Wushuang's strength just now, and he's even more powerful than before. However, he was still pierced through by the Xian Yuan sword. Could it be that it's still Shao Yi? He pretended to be sick again, but he was actually controlling the Xian Yuan sword to kill people. Act tough, King Shao, stop pretending. I know it's you. Ling Tian shook Shao Yi, but Shao Yi didn't react. Everyone at the scene knew that whoever ran would die. Even Song Huang descended from the sky and stared at the Xian Yuan sword cautiously. Shua! The Xian Yuan sword disappeared again, and when it reappeared, it was followed by 20 to 30 people, all of whom had lost an arm. Song Huang furrowed his brows. These people were all the higher-ups of the northern forces. It seemed like they were all hiding at the side, observing the situation, or waiting for the right moment to snatch the treasure. Unfortunately, he was too unlucky. Right now, Xian Yuan's sword was just like a big brother, looking down at these people and fluttering back and forth along with Yi Hua's finger. Sage Doctor, what should we do now? This sword is very strange. One of the people in the group asked gravely. Song Huang shook his head and didn't say anything. Right now, Xian Yuan's sword was like a kidnapper, and I and the others were like hostages. Whether we live or die would be decided by a single thought from Xian Yuan's sword. If Xian Yuan's sword wanted to run away, Xian Yuan's sword would pierce through his heart. Although Tang Wushuang didn't die right now, he wasn't far from death. Alliance Master Hai, are you alright? Guang Tianlu asked weakly. Hai Daisy had already stopped bleeding, but his face was pale. I'm alright, how about you? Chapter 224. Are you guys going to run? The weak Sunni slowly walked over and asked. The two of them shook their heads. Running away now was the same as courting death. If they wanted to die, they could run. Yihua lied on the sofa, and his mood became a bit better. Seems like only by doing this can I make myself slightly happy and not think about those two women. Just as Yihua was preparing to deal with those people, Dong Huangli suddenly opened the door and entered the room, then shouted out sweetly, "Daddy." Yihua opened his eyes and revealed out a light smile. "Ali, what happened?" Dong Huangli could be seen running to Yihua's side, then grabbed onto Yihua's hand that was controlling Xianyuan's sword with both of her hands. Dong Huangli began shaking Xianyuan's sword violently, then said coquettishly, "Daddy, play with Ali." Yihua's index finger shook violently along with Dong Huangli's shaking. "Ali, Daddy is working." "Boo-hoo Papa, Ali misses you." Dong Huangli could be seen increasing the strength of Yihua's hands, and the arc of Yihua's swaying became bigger and bigger, and the speed of Yihua's swaying also became faster and faster. Right now, the Xianyuan sword was like a drunkard, flying around in the air, making people feel numb. "Run!" Song Huang shouted out anxiously. Everyone began to run in all directions, but the range of the Xianyuan sword's swing was getting wider and wider, and its speed was getting faster and faster. Many people were inexplicably cut in half at the waist while running, or their heads were separated from their bodies. Everyone could see that the Xianyuan sword seemed to be out of control, so they ran even more desperately. The scene suddenly turned into purgatory, and blood flew everywhere. On the other hand, Tang Wushuang, who was lying on the ground, managed to avoid this calamity. On the other hand, Sun Fang's group of 3 were luckier. They quickly fled to the north. "Daddy, Ali will bring you to eat chicken, okay? Ali will let you show off your might in front of Aunt Qing, and perhaps, Aunt Qing will forgive you." While acting coquettishly, Dong Huangli shook Yihua's arm. "I wonder how many people died when you shook them like that." "Okay, Ali will wait for Papa first. Papa will be here soon." "Let's pinky swear then." Dong Huangli stretched out her pinky. Of course, Yihua would satisfy his daughter's various requests. After his daughter left, Yihua looked towards the scene, and his expression immediately sunk. The Xianyuan sword, which was flying around randomly, also stopped moving. They actually ran away. Yihua let out a breath. After thinking for a bit, accompanying my daughter is more important. With a flick of his index finger, Xianyuan's sword directly stabbed towards the side of Xiao Yi. Ling Tian looked at this scene dumbfoundedly and said to the unconscious Xiao Yi, "And you said you weren't acting cool. I've never seen someone so good at pretending. Hurry up and get up. They've already left. Even if you act cool, no one will applaud you." Ling Tian shouted out helplessly. Looking at the Xianyuan sword in front of him, Ling Tian did not dare to take it. He was afraid that the situation from before would happen again. For example, Tang Wushuang, who was lying on the ground. Just a moment ago, the Xianyuan sword had accidentally stabbed into his crotch. However, right now, Tang Wushuang's crotch was completely blood red, and his stomach was the same as well. Not long after, Xiao Yi woke up. "Big brother Xiao, you're finally awake." Ling Tian exclaimed as he supported Xiao Yi. "What's wrong?" Xiao Yi asked blankly. Ling Tian rolled his eyes. "Brother Xiao, I know you're humble, but if you continue to be so humble, you won't have any friends." Xiao Yi was confused and expressed that he really didn't know. She helped Xiao Yi to stand up. "Brother Xiao, what should we do with that Tang Wushuang?" Ling Tian looked towards Tang Wushuang, who was on the verge of death, and asked. Xiao Yi took a look, then said gravely, "Whether he lives or dies will depend on his own luck. I, Xiao Yi, don't owe him any more." Ling Tian nodded his head, then brought Xiao Yi along and wanted to go back. After the two left, a man appeared. With his brows wrinkled, he looked at his phone. F***ck, he's gone again. I'm going to cut off one of his legs when I go back. This man was precisely Gue Qingren, Tang Wushuang's master. Looking at his disciple's miserable state, Gue Qingren shook his head. This disciple is truly making me lose face. Master, save me. Tang Wushuang stretched out his bloody hand. Gue Qingren said coldly, don't touch me, I look very dirty. Master. Tang Wushuang shouted out weakly. Gue Qingren was helpless. With a wave of his hand, the two disappeared from the scene. The entire world returned back to normal, and the black clouds in the sky gradually dispersed as well. Only the bloodstains on the ground could prove that a battle had happened here. Yi Hua, who was in the bedroom, thought for a while, then decided to contact Wei Chang. I can't let them off so easily. Your Honor. Are you feeling better now? Wei Chang appeared in the bedroom and asked respectfully. Yi Hua let out a sigh. I was interrupted by Ali. Your Honor definitely didn't do it on purpose. I naturally know that, which is why I called you over. Go and deal with those people from just now. Yi Hua said faintly. Wei Chang remained silent for a moment, then said, Your Honor, subordinate has something that I don't know if I should say or not. Speak. This time, the North and the South had an agreement beforehand. If the 3 people from the South died in the North, I think it would be even better. Yi Hua was startled. I didn't expect that Wei Chang would have such a realization. Wei Chang, your recent performance is very good. If you have any requests, you can let me know. Yi Hua was very happy. It is a good thing for subordinates to have brains, especially Wei Chang. From not having a brain to having a brain, the change is really big. Wei Chang didn't dare to be greedy and said hurriedly, although Your Honor didn't say it out, in actuality, you were trying to test subordinates' adaptability. Fortunately, subordinate answered correctly. Yi Hua was startled, and his expression was a bit flabbergasted. Soon after, Yi Hua revealed out a smile, to be able to see through my true intentions. Wei Chang, you are truly becoming more and more creative. Subordinate doesn't dare to, it is all because of Your Honor's guidance. In actuality, subordinate doesn't have any requests, I just hope that Your Honor can give subordinate a raise in salary. After all, I have a girlfriend now, and my expenses are somewhat unable to keep up. Wei Chang indeed didn't have any money right now. Sometimes, he would even use Xiao Tang's money to refuel the Porsche. Yi Hua nodded his head, this is all a small matter, I will double your salary. Thank you, Your Honor. Wei Chang hurriedly kowtowed and thanked Yi Hua. Oh right, who do you intend to call to deal with those 3 people? Yi Hua asked curiously. Green and Red brothers, they need combat experience right now, I will use them for Green and Red brothers to train. Yi Hua said faintly, that's fine too, in the future, give them more missions to increase their combat experience, and with that, they will be able to protect Ali in the future. Yes. You can leave now. After Wei Chang left, Yi Hua rubbed onto his hair and muttered to himself, when did this Wei Chang become so smart? I, the Supreme Overlord, am not used to it. However, in the end, it was still a good thing. Yi Hua arrived at Qing Yutong's room and saw that his daughter and Yi Zizi were currently playing games, and Qing Yutong was nowhere to be seen. Daddy, Ali has already started fighting by herself, you can go back to sleep. Dong Huangli was very serious when fighting against Yi Zizi, because she was fighting against Yi Zizi. Big cousin, big sister Qing went to your office. She was called over by big sister-in-law. Yi Zizi added. Yi Hua's eyes shone. I hope that Qing Yutong's guidance will be useful. Let's go and listen to what they are talking about first. Forget it. Am I the kind of person who eavesdrops on others? If word of this got out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Chapter 225. In the office. Qing Ye's surroundings were filled with crumpled napkins. Qing Ye was currently wiping away her tears, looking very pitiful. Qing Yutong sat in front of her big sister and sized her up attentively. It is good that big sister is able to cry and get angry, at least it proves that big sister still cares about you. If he really didn't care, then he would be in an ordinary state. This scoundrel, I am going to freeze his card. Finished speaking, Qingye took out her phone and called the bank, freezing Yihua's card. Yihua, who was outside the door, almost rushed in. Just a moment ago, I had just agreed to give Wei Chang a raise, and in the blink of an eye, you froze my card. How am I going to be the boss? Qingye choked with sobs and said, Wu, I want to see how he is going to eat crayfish. Yutong, your brother-in-law is too much of a bully. Big sister, this is already very good. Qing Yutong consoled, then took out a tissue and passed it to her big sister. While sobbing, Qingye asked, this is still all right? Of course. Brother-in-law wanted to take me into his harem. Didn't you come to give me condoms? Qing Yutong. I didn't call you over to talk nonsense, I called you over to think of a solution. Qingye shouted angrily and shyly. Even at this time, you are still making this kind of joke. Yihua, who was outside the door, really wanted to smack his butt. Your big sister is already angry to that extent, and you are still adding fuel to the fire. Qing Yutong could be heard saying attentively, Big sister, let's take a step back and think about it. This is brother-in-law's past romance, and there is also Ali. I'm afraid that brother-in-law doesn't know about these matters. If brother-in-law knew, he would have brought Ali back long ago. These few days, you have also seen brother-in-law's attitude towards Ali. This means that brother-in-law indeed doesn't know about it. Qing Yutong was also judging the matter as it was, and was impartial. Yihua, who was standing at the doorway, silently nodded his head. There is no problem with Yutong's explanation. But that woman is really beautiful. Brother-in-law is tempted. Qing Yutong's following words caused Yihua's expression to darken. What do you mean by not being moved? She is already my woman, is there still a need for me to be moved? All he had to do was take action. Hearing that, Qingye's tears became bigger. Your brother-in-law is a playboy. I didn't know it before, but now I see through him. Sis, which man isn't fickle? Those who aren't fickle are all gay. Qing Yutong. Your sister, have been cheated, and you're still smiling. Qing Yutong laughed bitterly. Big sister, you said that brother-in-law lied to you, but just what did he lie to you about? In any case, he is lying. If not for the fact that Qingye was pregnant, Yihua would have really wanted to smack her butt and forcefully accuse her of something. Did brother-in-law lie to you to go to bed with him, or did he lie to you to do that? Qing Yutong's eyebrows twitched, and said, you know what I mean. Qing Yutong, get out. Big sister, think back to those days when you two were on your honeymoon, that scene of you two kissing passionately in front of me and Yi Zizi, and that fragrant tongue of yours had even reached into brother-in-law's mouth. TSK. Just looking at it made my entire body go numb. Scram. Qingye's face flushed red, then picked up the pillow and threw it towards Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong let out a breath, then persuaded, actually, I feel that brother-in-law is really very good, and he is also very attentive towards big sister. Other than him liking to act cool, drinking and smoking, he doesn't seem to have any bad habits. Isn't that a bad habit? All that's left is the yellow gambling. Brother-in-law doesn't like that kind of thing, he likes big sister's kind of thing. Qing Yutong teased. Get out, I don't want to listen to your crooked reasoning, your brother-in-law definitely gave you benefits. Qing Yutong placed both of her hands on her waist. Big sister, you can insult my person, but you can't insult my character. I, Qing Yutong, in any case, was born as a young pioneer, I will reject all bribes. Last night, I even spat at brother-in-law and asked him to divorce you. Ah! Qingye could be heard crying out in surprise, then immediately felt that her reaction was too big, so she immediately turned her face away. Qing Yutong had a look of disdain on her face. Even someone like you can still get angry, just talking about divorce, you are already so nervous. Didn't you see brother-in-law's expression at that time? It was as if his wife had died. Qing Yutong, who are you cursing to die? Big sister, I am just making an analogy, I might as well act it out for you. Qing Yutong coughed lightly and put on Yihua's expression. Suddenly, Qing Yutong's expression collapsed, then said pleadingly, Yutong, quickly go and beg your big sister for me, I can't live without her. If your big sister were to leave, don't even think about living anymore. Yihua took a deep breath. If I mess up with Qing Yutong, then I will really teach you a lesson. Furthermore, would I, the Supreme Overlord, go and beg a woman like this? What a joke. Yutong, your acting is a bit exaggerated. Yihua wouldn't say something like this at all. Qingye could be said to understand Yihua, he is a person who cares about his face no matter what. Don't mind those details, brother-in-law talked with me for an hour last night, don't even mention how miserable he was. Thinking back to last night, brother-in-law even killed a few people, and in the end, under Yizizi's lead, brother-in-law won the chicken dinner. Alright, I don't want to listen anymore, you can go out. Qingye felt that she couldn't continue listening, the more she listened, the softer her heart became. I have to be a bit firmer. Right. I have to be firm in my conviction. Qing Yutong felt that it was about time. Looking at big sister, she doesn't seem to be the kind that wants to die, she is just jealous, that's all. Yihua immediately spread out and pretended to go upstairs. After closing the door, Qing Yutong laughed tenderly, brother-in-law, stop pretending, you heard everything, right? This sister-in-law sure doesn't give me any face. What's the situation with your big sister? Yihua asked gravely. Qing Yutong's eyebrows twitched, and she had a look that said, you understand, on her face. We are going to eat meat tonight, I won't leave you out. Yihua said petulantly. Thank you, brother-in-law, in actuality, my big sister is just jealous, there isn't any big problem. Brother-in-law, if you leave her out for half a month, I guarantee that big sister will run over to reconcile with you. Qing Yutong said very casually, having a look as if she had been through this before. Yihua felt that this won't do, Qingye is serious this time. Qingye could be heard adding a sentence, brother-in-law, sometimes, when it's time to be hard, you should be hard. What do you mean? My big sister is just an ordinary person, you tell me how I should be hard. Qing Yutong rolled her eyes at Yihua. You don't even understand this. Yihua immediately understood what Qing Yutong meant and said gravely, get hard. Brother-in-law, do your best, get hard a few more times, big sister will naturally be convinced. Yutong, after this crisis is over, tell brother-in-law what you want. Yihua was very generous, as long as I am able to make Qingye change her mind, I am willing to give you Thanos. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth, brother-in-law, you are penniless right now, you better take care of yourself first, I don't have any money. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong slipped away. Yihua let out a light breath. After coaxing Qingye, I will naturally have money. How can I let this little rich woman slip away so easily? Now is the time for me to be hard. Yihua pushed open the office door. Yutong, I don't want to talk to you right now. Qingye said. It's me. Qingye could be seen taking a look at Yihua, then immediately lied down and turned her back towards Yihua. What are you doing here, get out! Qingye shouted coldly. Yihua walked to the front of the sofa and said faintly, Qingye, I will give you 1 second to change your mind, if not, don't blame me for using hard methods. Yihua. Don't think that I, Qingye, am afraid of you. Are you getting up or not? Go and die. Chapter 226. Yihua could be seen hugging onto Qingye, and Qingye cried out in surprise, Yihua. What are you doing? We are quarreling, you can't do this to me. So what? I will do whatever I want to do. Yihua shouted out gravely, while Qingye was punching and kicking Yihua. Don't move. Be careful of the child. Yihua shouted out coldly. In actuality, even if Qingye were to kill Yihua, nothing would happen to the child. The power of bloodline was not something that could be aborted so easily. Qingye's face was as cold as ice as she said coldly, Yihua. Please respect me. Then have you ever respected me? Don't tell me that I don't treat you well. Yihua questioned. This woman is just an unreasonable woman, how big of a deal is this? I, the Supreme Overlord, already have so many wives, and if I, the Supreme Overlord, have one more wife, I will die. Qingye seemed to be unable to refute this question, and said, in any case, you are a swindler, deceiving my feelings. I don't want you to hug me, put me down. Come down. That's impossible. Don't you realize that you're stinking? I haven't showered for almost a day. Qingye wrinkled her eyebrows. It seems that I haven't taken a bath for almost a day. In actuality, Qingye's body was still very fragrant, and Yihua said that intentionally. Carrying Qingye to the bedroom, he threw her into the bathroom and said, wash it properly, it's so smelly. After saying that, he closed the door, and the sound of smashing could be heard from inside. If it's broken, call someone to fix it yourself. Yihua shouted out, then laid on the bed and waited. It has been almost a day since I hugged this woman, and I miss her a lot. As soon as he said this, the smashing inside became even fiercer. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. I, the Supreme Overlord, like this kind of woman. Hugging a woman like this is much more comfortable. Half an hour later, Qingye walked out of the room, took a look at Yihua, then prepared to directly run out of the room. Yihua laughed. Qingye, you are still too childish. Don't you understand what I am thinking? Qingye naturally understood. Isn't she preparing to run away now? Just that, before she could even reach the door, her body floated up and floated towards Yihua's embrace. Yihua! You can't be this shameless. Qingye, who was floating in the sky, shouted out. I am a cultivator, what can you do to me? Qingye almost exploded from anger as she said indignantly, if you dare to touch me, I will. I will. Yihua caught onto Qingye and hugged her tightly into his embrace, then asked curiously, what are you planning to do? I'll bite you to death. After finished speaking, it really bit towards Yihua's arm. Yihua laughed bitterly. Last time, he was threatened by Qing Yutong and had his skin cut open by a knife, and now, he was bitten by Qingye. The pain that I am feeling right now is all caused by these two women. This is truly depressing. Qingye bit down very fiercely, and when the taste of blood came out from her mouth, she woke up. When she opened her mouth to take a look, a row of teeth marks could be seen, and the skin was bitten through. Are you happy now? Taking this rare opportunity, Yihua questioned coldly. Qingye didn't dare to look straight at him and said indignantly, let go of me. Otherwise, I'll bite again. Then bite it. It's best if you can break it. You. How did you become a scoundrel? Qingye tried to struggle free from Yihua's embrace, but unfortunately, she did not have enough strength. Yihua didn't say anything and hugged Donghuang Baizhi tightly. This is so comfortable. I wonder how Donghuang Baizhi will feel when hugging me. It's a pity that if she wants to get on my bed, she still needs to practice a lot more. After a long while, Qingye asked coldly, aren't you a cultivator? You can't even heal this little bit of injury. Yihua replied faintly, why would I need to heal it? I'm just waiting for the wound to get infected, then I'll amputate it. When the child grows up and asks me, I'll tell him that it was your mother who broke it. Qingye looked at Yihua in disbelief. Shameless. After another 10 minutes passed, Qingye saw that the wound was still bleeding, and she was very worried. What if the wound really gets infected and I have to amputate it? This is a scoundrel, to use self-torture to threaten me. Let go of me. Qingye shouted out coldly. Not letting go. I'll go get the medicine box and help you bandage your wound, lest you become a one-armed hero. Qingye said angrily. You have a woman and a child outside, and you still want me to comfort you? Yihua was delighted. Seems like what I said on the internet is somewhat effective. Yihua let go of Qingye. Qingye took out the medicine box, then placed it on the bed, then carefully disinfected and bandaged the wound. Looking at Qingye's serious look, Yihua said lightly, not angry anymore. Do you think that's possible? Qingye said coldly. Yihua retracted his hand, then don't bandage my wound anymore, let me become a one-armed hero, when the child is born, I'll tell him about it. You! Why are you acting like a child? Qingye said angrily. You even want to snitch on a child, have you never seen it before? None of your business. Yihua snorted coldly. Give me your hand. Yihua said, not taking it. Are you taking it or not? Qingye, we are quarreling right now, stand properly at your position. Yihua said faintly. His current appearance was really asking for a beating. Meanwhile, Qingye was indeed quite angered. I helped you out of goodwill, and yet you still say such words, you are bullying me too much. Go and die then. Qingye snorted, then turned her face away and ignored Yihua, but she didn't get off the bed. After a long while, Yihua took a glance at Qingye and said faintly, Qingye, let's reconcile, stop quarreling. We are quarreling. Please stand properly at your position. Alright, the Supreme Overlord was counterattacked by his wife again. Yihua's head is really aching. I might as well just beat her up and let her know how powerful I am, but I am reluctant to. I am so conflicted. It's swollen. Yihua could be heard crying out in surprise. Qingye immediately turned her head around and looked at the wound, and it was indeed swollen. Why are you so troublesome? Qingye said angrily as she took out the medicine to disinfect the wound. A trace of a sneaky smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. Making the skin swell is just a small matter, I am still able to control it. And you still dare to say that you don't care about me, why are you so nervous? This woman is just saying one thing but thinking the other. What Yutong said is completely correct. Tonight, I will be able to hug her to sleep again, comfortable now, little Ali is also going to be with me. Life is actually so perfect, I am going to extend my vacation this time. Eat some anti-inflammatory medicine. Qingye took out 2 amoxicillin. Water. You really are a big uncle. Although Qingye said that, she still went to pour water for Yihua. Looking at Qingye's back view, Yihua mumbled, Qingye, I really don't know what my life would be like without you. Qingye, who was pouring water for Yihua, paused for a moment, then said faintly, without me, you would still be able to live your life as usual, and there would still be Donghuang Baiji to take care of you. But I just like you. Yihua. Let me tell you, it is already too late for you to say words of love to me now. I will not listen to you. Yihua placed the cup on the bedside table heavily, and the water splashed out. The internet is all lies, I don't believe it anymore. Yihua has a temper, I have never lowered myself before. Just now, I already said so much, yet you still don't want to give me face. Qingye. Let me tell you, you are going to fall into my hands for the rest of your life. Even if I have to tie you up, I will still tie you up with me. Yihua. You bastard. Chapter 227. Qingye immediately jumped onto the bed and sat on Yihua's body, then picked up a pillow and started smashing it. Meanwhile, Yihua turned over and pressed Qingye down, then shouted out coldly, you dare to hit me. So what if I hit you? Right at this moment, the door was pushed open, and when Dong Huangli saw the scene inside, she cried out in surprise, Daddy, you have reconciled with Aunt Qing, this is great. Qingye used all her strength to push Yihua away. Yihua didn't want to hurt Qingye, so he didn't use any strength. He got up and carried his daughter, Ali, your Aunt Qing came over to admit her mistake. Qingye was very angry, but she didn't say anything. After all, it wasn't good to do so in front of a child. Daddy is so handsome, Dong Huangli gave a thumbs up. Nothing is better than being able to correct one's mistakes. Do you remember that, Ali? Dong Huangli nodded her head, then said, Daddy, Ali is tired from playing, I want to sleep now. Can you let Aunt Qing accompany Ali to sleep? Aunt Qing didn't sleep well last night either. Yihua knew that Qingye wouldn't reject Ali. After all, Now that the two of them were familiar with each other, he would be able to relax a bit. Dong Huangli blinked her big eyes, Qinya, take good care of Ali. After placing his daughter on the bed, Yi Hua said faintly. Qinya's emotions were actually very complicated. Firstly, she liked how obedient and sensible Ali was, and secondly, Ali was Yi Hua's child with another woman. It would be a lie to say that Yi Hua didn't have any enmity towards that woman. However, after hearing what that woman said, she was actually quite pitiful. She came to find Yi Hua while pregnant, but Yi Hua ignored her, and she even gave birth to the child and raised the child by himself. If it wasn't for Li running away from home this time and coming here because of the game, Yi Hua probably wouldn't even know that he had a child outside. Both of them were pitiful women. However, Li was angered by Yi Hua's lies and that arrogant look on his face. He clearly did something wrong, yet he didn't repent at all, and even said that it was someone else's fault. Even if you are a cultivator, you can't be so rude and unreasonable. I am your wife, not your mistress. Yi Hua closed the door and told them to get along with each other, while he went downstairs to teach Dong Huang Baiji a lesson. I have to teach these women a lesson and let them know how to be a qualified wife. Especially this Dong Huang Baiji. To be precise, this is the second time I've met her, and my daughter is already almost 3 years old. I really didn't expect this. Coming downstairs, Yi Hua saw that Dong Huang Baiji was currently sitting on the broken bar counter and drinking wine. Dong Huang Baiji's gaze was currently blurred. Without the support of spiritual energy, Dong Huang Baiji was just like an ordinary person. Thus, it was only natural that she would get drunk very quickly. Looking at Dong Huang Baiji's current state, Yi Hua let out a sigh. If I had come down back then, I reckon that Qinya wouldn't have gotten involved in this. It's fortunate that I didn't come down, if not, I wouldn't have been able to come across Qinya. It was just that he owed her. Yi Hua walked over and sat beside Dong Huang Baiji, then poured himself a cup of wine. Just like that, the two of them drank one cup after another without saying a word. Does your butt still hurt? In the end, Yi Hua couldn't help but ask. Dong Huang Baiji had won this battle of silence. When had Dong Huang Baiji ever been spanked before? Dong Huang Baiji sneered, didn't you have a good time spanking me? If you didn't make me angry, why would I hit you? Yi Hua said calmly. If it was another man, he would definitely beg and apologize to Dong Huang Baiji. This way, Dong Huang Baiji's heart would soften, and perhaps, Dong Huang Baiji might even reconcile with Dong Huang Baiji. After all, when Dong Huang Baiji came to Voidless Realm, she had already thought about it. If Yi Hua apologized sincerely, for the sake of her daughter's future, Dong Huang Baiji planned to bring Yi Hua to Voidless Realm. In the end, I didn't expect that Yi Hua wasn't an ordinary person and was even more formidable than me. From what Dong Huang Baiji had said, it could be seen that Dong Huang Baiji was still willing to bear some of the rumors and slanders. As an empress, marrying an ordinary man was a joke in and of itself. However, for the sake of her daughter, Dong Huang Baiji was still firm in her decision. Of course, this was what he thought before he came. From this, it could be seen just how important Dong Huang Li was in Dong Huang Baiji's heart. Dong Huang Li's feelings towards Yi Hua were very vague. Dong Huang Li bore grudges against Dong Huang Baiji for 3 years, worried about Dong Huang Li for 3 years, and thought about Dong Huang Li for 3 years. Every time she saw her daughter, she would think of Yi Hua. Yi Hua's figure had long since taken root in Dong Huang Baiji's heart. When Dong Huang Baiji heard that Yi Hua had gotten married, Dong Huang Baiji became angry and decided to make Yi Hua a cuckold to take revenge on him. Unfortunately, he was caught before he could take his revenge. Why didn't you come down during those few days? Dong Huang Baiji held onto her chin and asked. Why is this woman always tangling with this question? Is there any meaning to it? It has already been so long. Perhaps, to Yi Hua, this question might not be important. However, to Dong Huang Baiji, this was a question that she had to decide whether to forgive or not. Yi Hua became silent. What should I say? I was in a bad mood during those few days because Lai Gu bit off the internet cable while dreaming, causing me to not be able to watch Calabash Brothers. This is all Lai Gu's fault. If Lai Gu wasn't dreaming, he wouldn't have bitten off the internet cable. If Lai Gu didn't bite off the internet cable, my mood might have been pretty good. Perhaps, I would have come down and lived with Chinya. Thinking about it, Lai Gu's bite on the internet cable was pretty good. After pondering for a while, Yihua said faintly, it wasn't convenient for me during those few days. Hearing Yihua's explanation, Donghuang Baiji laughed at herself. It wasn't convenient for you. Did your aunt come? Aunt? I don't have any relatives. Yihua still didn't understand the meaning of aunt, and he was still thinking about the relationship between being inconvenient and aunt. Donghuang Baiji laughed. If you don't even understand this, how can you be a man? What is she talking about? This woman can't be drunk, right? If you still insist on what happened 3 years ago, I will slowly make it up to you in the future. As a man, I still have to put an end to the things that happened 3 years ago and do what I have to do. After all, only when my family is in harmony will I be able to show off my abilities in the outside world. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the mood to bother about those trivial things anymore. Make it up to me. How do you want to make it up to me? Do you want to piece my shattered heart back together? Donghuang Baiji lied on the bar counter and laughed while resting her head on her arms, looking like she was very drunk. Letting out a breath, Yihua took a sip of wine and said faintly, you can make it up to me however you want. I don't need it, I only want Ali. We are living very well, there is no need for you to come in. Bang! The wine glass in Yihua's hand was crushed into pieces. This woman sure is thick-headed. What? You want to hit me again? Go ahead and hit me, it would be best if you hit me to death. This way, no one will disturb you anymore. Hearing what Chinya said, Yihua immediately became angry. Back then, even Chinya didn't do this to me, at most, she would only threaten me and say things like perishing together with me. Why do these women always like to use death to threaten me? If you aren't my woman, I wouldn't care whether you live or die. Yihua stood up and said coldly, don't worry, I won't hit you. But, you can forget about leaving this bar in your entire life. After finished speaking, Yihua turned around and went upstairs. Chapter 228. The wine bottle smashed onto the air wall and fell onto the ground. Donghuang Baiji lied on the bar counter and cried bitterly, just like a child. Even 3 years ago, Donghuang Baiji had never cried like this before. Hearing the crying sound that was coming from downstairs, Yihua let out a heavy sigh. I really don't know what I should do. Please help me, I, the Supreme Overlord, am waiting for you. It's very urgent. Inside Wei Chang's rented room, currently, he was drinking the wolfberry ginseng tea that Tang Wei brewed. He felt that his entire body had been warm for the past few days, as if he was going to explode. Moreover, the more he put in the wolfberries, the more he had to drink. He had to drink several cups a day. In Tang Wei's words, this tea was good for the body and could even cure illnesses. Wei Chang was puzzled. He wasn't sick, so why did he need to be treated? But looking at Tang Wei's concerned expression, it seemed as if he had contracted an incurable disease. You too, come over here. I have a mission for you. Wei Chang shouted at the Green and Red brothers. At this time, the Green and Red brothers were also drinking wolfberry tea. This was because all the boiled water in this house had wolfberry in it. They really didn't understand why those old uncles in the village drank it like this. Looking at Wei Chang's age, and then thinking about Tang Wei's age, Wei Chang immediately understood, when one reached middle age, they had no choice. All men understood. The two of them walked over with a smile on their faces. Uncle Wei said that there was a mission. Could it be that the boss was chased out of the house? Or was he going to do some cleaning? Or should he go downstairs to buy groceries? Currently, the Green and Red brothers had already changed their hairstyles. Their hairstyles were 50-50, and they were parted in the middle. It seemed like he had recognized someone as his boss. It had to be said that the Green and Red brothers had become a lot more refreshing after changing to the 50-50 development style. However, their hair was still relatively long. It had already reached their chins. Not to mention that it looked a little artistic. Of course, the color was still the same. He was also wearing a trench coat, which matched with his hair color. He was simply awesome. Wherever he went, he was a beautiful scenery. He could even be a traffic light. Uncle Wei, are we going to buy groceries? I think we should buy some vegetables. Big Brother Green was also a bit irritable. Uncle Wei, I don't have a girlfriend, unlike you, Uncle Wei. Little Brother Red nodded his head earnestly. Uncle Wei, eating these vegetables is really good, it can help to lower one's body temperature. Wei Chang felt that what the two said made sense. That's true. Let's buy some vegetables tonight. Alright, we will definitely complete the mission. The Green and Red brothers stood up and stretched out their hands. I want money. Cough. The mission I'm talking about isn't asking you to go buy vegetables, but to go buy vegetables after you finish the mission. Wei Chang added. He was almost misled by them. Big Brother Green instantly clapped his hands. I knew that Uncle Wei wouldn't give us this kind of mission. No matter what, we're already people in the same circle. We're definitely going to punish evil and promote good. Big Bro, I think we're going to be famous. Look at our outfits. When the reporters come to interview us, we should look presentable. Little brother, don't worry. Our traffic light combination will definitely explode in popularity. Cheers. Cheers. Wei Chang said indifferently, go kill 3 people. Puff. Puff. The Green and Red brothers spat at each other, then they slowly turned their heads around and asked curiously, Uncle Wei, are you sure you're not going to save 3 people? You guys need to practice your killing skills more. It just so happens that 3 people offended the boss today. Go and deal with them. When the time comes, put the corpses in a conspicuous place. The Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva forcefully. Why did they suddenly jump from buying groceries to killing someone? They really couldn't get used to it. There had to be a transition period, right? Like beating someone up first. Then, he was beaten to a cripple, then his arms and legs were dislocated. There was no such process at all. You guys aren't afraid, right? Didn't you guys say that you guys have quite a few lives in your hands last night in the village? You guys didn't even blink when you guys attacked viciously. Wei Chang asked curiously. What the heck, which man doesn't brag? Furthermore, when I killed the chicken, I indeed attacked viciously. I already have over 100 lives in my hands. Big Brother Green tightly wrinkled his brows and said hesitantly, Uncle Wei, you can be at ease, offending the boss means offending little Ali, that means offending us brothers. I guarantee that we will complete the mission. Not bad, the boss will definitely appreciate your thoughts. I will give you guys 5 minutes to prepare, we will set off after 5 minutes. The Green and Red brothers turned around, and their expressions immediately collapsed. Walking to the side, they whispered to each other. Big Bro, what should we do? What else can we do? Take out our weapons and fight. But I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? We are originally wanted criminals. Later on, it will be perfectly justifiable for us to be wanted criminals. Little Brother Red covered onto his face. Why do I feel that life is becoming more and more exciting? If we follow the boss, we will definitely become famous in the future. That's right. Not only will we become famous, we will also set things on fire. 5 minutes later, the two finished preparing and stood neatly in front of Wei Chang, waiting for further instructions from Wei Chang. Wei Chang picked up the thermos, then waved his hand, and a black whirlpool appeared in the living room. You guys, follow me. The Green and Red brothers took a deep breath, then followed Wei Chang and stepped into the black whirlpool. Big Bro, we aren't going to fight across planets, right? I'm not afraid of fighting across planets, but I'm afraid of fighting across galaxies. Walking into the whirlpool, taking a look at the blue sky and white clouds, little brother Red pointed at an eagle and shouted, "Big bro, quickly look, even the eagle is flying so low." Feeling that something was wrong, Big brother Green slowly lowered his head, and cold sweat was already dripping out of his body. Little brother Red followed his big bro's gaze and looked over. The two froze. They were actually standing at a height of a few thousand meters. Wei Chang looked towards the north and said casually, "You guys wait here." "Uncle Wei, what about our target?" The Green and Red brothers held onto each other's hands and asked. "The three people that are coming over later will be our target." After finished speaking, Uncle Wei opened the thermos and drank a mouthful of wolfberry tea, then walked into the black whirlpool and disappeared. The Green and Red brothers remained silent for a moment, and their nervous expression gradually became excited. "Big bro. We can fly now." "That's right, we have become birds." Big brother Green let out a sigh. "A few days ago, I was still starving on the road, and today, I became a Superman, the kind of Superman that kills people." Indeed, looking from the ground, there was a green and a red big bird in the sky. Just as the two brothers were getting excited, 3 black dots flew towards them at high speed. They were precisely Sun Yi and the others who were running for their lives. "Big bro. They are here." Little brother Red suddenly became nervous. "I saw them, I am not blind." Big brother Green was very nervous too. "It is fine for me to go and scare people, but to kill people, I am not mentally prepared at all." Looking at the figures getting closer and closer, little brother Red suddenly asked, "Big bro, in the wuxia movies, everyone has to hold on to their own name, how are we going to report to them?" "Watch me later." Big brother Green had already thought of what to do. Little brother Red became relieved. Big bro is indeed smart and quick-witted. When Sun Yi and the others saw the Green and Red brothers that were not far away from them, they were very puzzled. "Alliance Master Hai, are they your people?" Guang Tianlu asked. After all, the way those two dressed up was very strange, and they seemed to be people from the Esper world. Hai Dicey shook his head. "Although we, the people from the Esper world, are all hidden within the cities, we still have our own identities. Why would we dress up like that?" Chapter 229. Guang Tianlu said gravely, "We have yet to leave the northern region, could it be that we are here?" The three's expression became grave. "Seems like we are in danger," adding on the fact that we are injured, the situation has become even worse. In the blink of an eye, the three arrived in front of the Green and Red brothers. Looking at Sun Yi, the Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva. "Why is there a woman here? This woman is so beautiful, wouldn't it be a pity to kill her?" "Who are you guys?" Sun Yi shouted out. "Although I am injured, I can't reveal my injuries right now, I have to pretend." Big brother Green snorted, "Since you are asking me sincerely, I shall be merciful and tell you. I am Buried Love Family's Green Protector." After finished speaking, he made a very cool pose. Very quickly, little brother Red understood and made a pose first, then shouted out, "I am Buried Love Family's Red Protector." The three were very puzzled. When did the Buried Love family appear in the south? Why is the name so strange? Furthermore, these two people look very silly. Why are you guys blocking our way? Hai Dicey asked. Just as Big Brother Green was about to speak, a wrench fell out from his windbreaker, and Little Brother Red grabbed onto it reflexively. An awkward atmosphere pervaded the air. The Green and Red brothers were communicating with each other with their eyes. "Big Brother, we are assassins, we cannot expose ourselves." "I know, but the wrench fell out." "Big Brother, just speak some nonsense. We can only do this." Big Brother Green took over the wrench and said with a smile, as a mechanic, it should be normal for me to bring along a wrench, right?" Right after he finished speaking, a plastic water pipe fell out from Little Brother Red's windbreaker. Little Brother Red hurriedly caught onto it, and with an unnatural expression, he scratched onto his red hair, "As a water and electricity installer, it should be fine for me to bring along a plastic water pipe, right?" Sun Yi and the other two's expressions were very strange, they were completely stupefied by the two people in front of them. A wrench and a plastic water pipe, they are probably preparing for a street fight. Suddenly, a kitchen knife fell out from Big Brother Green's windbreaker, and Big Brother Green immediately grabbed onto the kitchen knife. Damn, Big Brother, you even took out a kitchen knife. Big Brother Green glared at his little brother, then explained to the three people, actually, I'm not only a repairman, but also a sharpener. In order to prove his occupation, Big Brother Green coughed lightly, then shouted out. Sharpen scissors, sharpen kitchen knife, especially when he dragged out the last syllable, it made people believe him without a doubt. Big Brother, you're awesome. Everyone at the entrance of the village always calls you that. I didn't expect you to learn it so well. Sun Yi and the other two were greatly shocked, but they were also very angry. They were actually played by these two people. I am the sect leader of Cloud's sect. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Sun Yi shouted. After hearing the other party's name, the Green and Red brothers were a little stunned. Big Brother, Cloud's sect. In the novels, they are all very awesome existences. Big Brother Green rubbed his chin. I heard that many of the protagonists started their counterattacks in the Cloud sect. That's right. What trash, broken engagement, and all sorts of golden fingers. I reckon that this sect master is about to be defeated by the main character. Perhaps the protagonist is currently playing with fire sticks in the woodshed of the Yun sect. Maybe he was slandered by eldest senior brother and is now slapping himself in the face. Maybe he's in junior sister's room, hee, the two of them laughed at each other. Hearing these two people insulting Cloud's sect, Sun Yi was very angry. But after hearing what they said, she realized that there was indeed a disciple in Cloud's sect who was very outstanding and had caused quite a lot of big things recently. How dare you talk behind my Cloud sect's back? Watch my sword. Sun Yi condensed a sharp sword, and with a sharp killing intent, she attacked. Facing the incoming sword chi, Green and Red brothers went into a daze, especially Little Brother Red. Little Brother Red immediately closed his eyes, not daring to look at the incoming sword chi. Stretching out both of his hands, Little Brother Red had an expression that seemed to be saying, "Don't hit me." Ding, a light sound rang out in Little Brother Red's ears. Feeling that his palm was a bit itchy, Little Brother Red slowly opened his eyes. He saw the tip of the sword stabbing into his palm, but it did not pierce through. What was going on? Fake sword. Little Brother Red pinched onto the tip of the sword. Caw! The clear and melodious sound gave Little Brother Red a fright. The entire sharp sword could be seen breaking apart from the tip of the sword, and in the end, only the sword hilt in Sun Yi's hand remained. Everyone fell silent, even Big Brother Green was stupefied. Little brother, how did you do it? Big Brother Green asked curiously. I don't know, I just touched it. Then I'll give it a try too. After saying that, Big Brother Green moved towards Sun Yi's body. Little Brother Red shouted out loudly, "You're so lowly. What I'm touching is the sword, yet you're touching a person." Sun Yi came back to her senses, and her eyes focused. Her left hand turned into a palm, and a surge of spiritual energy erupted from the center of her palm. The large and small palms collided. Pa! Sun Yi was directly sent flying, and a large amount of blood spurted out of her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu were both stupefied. That red hair touched the sword, and the sword shattered. That green hair didn't seem to use much strength, but he actually sent Sun Yi flying. Big brother. If you continue like this, you will be single for the rest of your life. Little Brother Red cried out in surprise. To think that you are actually willing to lay your hands on such a beauty. Big Brother Green didn't expect himself to be so powerful, he laughed and said, "It's alright, Big Brother still has you." Big Brother, I don't like this kind of stuff. Guang Tianlu drew out 3 cards and snorted coldly. Don't be arrogant. Little Brother Red cried out in surprise, card. His figure instantly disappeared, and when he returned, he held 3 cards in his hand. Big brother, don't you like playing cards? What exactly are these 3 cards? Dizzy or mana sucked? Big brother Green raised his hand and slapped. What are you doing? We are killing people, and the enemy is currently attacking us. You have already snatched the enemy's weapon, what are they still fighting for? Quickly return the cards to him. You have no morals. Little brother Red scratched onto his head and said with grievance, I am just curious about what functions these cards have. Guang Tianlu and Hai Daisy were stupefied, especially Guang Tianlu. My summoning cards are actually held onto by him. Bullsh *T. Even Xiao Yi doesn't dare to receive my summoning cards, and yet this red hair actually received my summoning cards. Impossible. This is definitely impossible. They must have cheated. Pft. 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 Guang Tianlu's eyeballs were about to pop out as he slowly lowered his head, only to see that his 3 summoning cards had pierced into his body. Ah! Big brother, I didn't do it on purpose, I thought that he would dodge. Little brother Red panicked and was at a loss of what to do. Big brother Green hurriedly consoled his little brother, this isn't your fault, he didn't dodge on his own. Really? Really? Then I can be at ease. Little brother Red patted onto his chest. A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Guang Tianlu's mouth. To actually say that I didn't dodge on my own. I need to have some time to react too. Upon seeing that, Hai Daisy knew that things have gone south. The 2 of us are going to be crippled in an instant, we have to quickly run away. Big brother, that one-armed hero ran away. Little brother Red shouted out loudly. Big brother Green could be seen taking out a spatula from his windbreaker. Chapter 230. Didn't you bring the frying pan with you? Big brother Green looked at the butt of his little brother. It was obvious that there was a frying pan there. Looking at Hai Daisy who was running away, Big brother Green aimed at his target and threw the spatula in his hand. A muffled sound came from afar, and a black shadow fell from the sky. Big brother Green heaved a sigh of relief, it's done. But they didn't die. Little brother Red said worriedly. Big brother Green thought for a moment, then said, put the 3 of them down first, we'll think of a way. Little brother Red nodded his head, then gathered the 3 injured people together and went to the depths of the forest. The Green and Red brothers frowned as they looked at the 3 people lying on the ground, not knowing what to do. At this moment, the 3 of them were very weak, but they were not dead. The spiritual energy in their bodies was slowly healing their wounds. Big brother, what should we do? Little brother Red asked anxiously. Big brother Green patted his little brother's shoulder and said, at this time, you need courage. Big brother's courage is already enough. You go and finish them off, then we can go back to eat. When Sun Yi and the other 2 heard the conversation between the 2, their expressions instantly sank. It would be hard for them to escape death today. If you want to kill us, then kill us. Give us a quick death. However, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off. Although Guang Tianlu was weak, he was still full of energy, which meant that he wouldn't die anytime soon. Sun Yi, on the other hand, was different. She was a woman and had an advantage. Little brothers, if you can let me go, I can satisfy all your requests. After saying that, Sun Yi revealed a bashful look. This made the Green and Red brothers very excited, and they subconsciously showed respect to her. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu both cursed at how shameless he was. This was probably how he became the sect master. Big brother, I can't bear to lay my hands on such a beautiful woman. I'll leave her to you, big brother. With that said, he turned around and closed his eyes, covering his ears. Big brother Green was quite ferocious when killing chickens, he could chop off a chicken's head with one slash, but killing people, Sun Yi seemed to have seen the hope of survival and hurriedly said, little big brother, don't worry. I'll live well. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu's faces were filled with disdain. I know you are living well, don't speak. Big Brother Green shouted. This woman was so coquettish, she was actually showing off that she was living well. Who the f***ck didn't have a good life? I've been basking in the sun for 5 billion years. Have I ever shown off? One had to keep a low profile. Sunny felt a little dizzy. It seemed that this was still a boy, not a man. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu actually laughed out loud. Who asked you to act coquettishly? Other people wouldn't fall for your act at all. The Green and Red brothers squatted on the side and quietly discussed how to deal with it. Little brother, Big Brother usually treats you well, right? That's right. He often borrows money and doesn't return it. That's because Big Brother doesn't want to see you get sick. That's why he did this. You have to understand Big Brother's good intentions. Big Brother, I know what you want to say. I'm scared. Big Brother Green sighed, I'm scared too, especially when I slash down with my blade. Their eyeballs will bulge out, it's very terrifying. That's right, we should have let them die easily. Little Brother Red said regretfully as he placed his palms together. You're right. After all, we're all good people. Little Brother Red nodded his head, agreeing with what his big brother said. Then, how can we let them die easily and painlessly? I heard that euthanasia is the best. It's a pity we don't have it. The second best would be to let blood out. I heard that it's not very painful. If you let it out, people will faint and then die. This is a good idea, let's let blood out. Big Brother Green took out a kitchen knife and walked over. You two can be at ease, I will let you two die peacefully. Big Brother, I beg of you, I have a lot of money and a lot of treasures. Sunny didn't want to die. I just became the sect master, I don't want to die just like this. Big Brother Green sighed, if you want to blame something, blame yourself for provoking someone you shouldn't have provoked. The three of them were startled. Could it be Xiao Yi? Impossible, if Xiao Yi had such a strong subordinate, he would have used him long ago, then who could it be? Hai Daisy asked hurriedly, Big Brother, you guys couldn't have gotten the wrong person, right? Little brother, we didn't get the wrong person, right? Big Brother Green asked. I don't know either. Little Brother Red shook his head. The three of them were about to collapse. You guys didn't even get a clear picture of the person before killing him, is this really good? At the very least, confirm the target. Big Brother Green could be seen holding onto Hai Daisy's other hand and said faintly, if there are three of you, then I wouldn't be wrong. And, we are killing based on the number of people, not based on their appearance. Little Brother Red added. The three of them were truly in despair. Who is killing based on the number of people? Sunny asked, what if there were only two of us that appeared just now? Oh, then it wouldn't be you guys. Little Brother Red revealed out an expression of, you are an idiot, to actually ask such a childish question. The three of them let out a breath at the same time. Why didn't we split up and go back just now? Bear with it. Big Brother Green warned concernedly. Soon after, the main artery on Big Brother Green's wrist was cut, and blood sprayed out like a fountain. Next was Guangtian Road, and last was Sun Yi. Sect Master, it is a bit painful, just bear with it and it will be over soon. Big Brother Green touched onto Sun Yi's smooth little hand. It really hurts, so white, so tender. Just kill me. I don't dare to. Blood spilled out from the corner of Sun Yi's mouth. She was angered to the point that if she was able to move, she would have already committed suicide. To avoid being toyed with by them, Green and Red brothers immediately ran away and waited, looking as if they had just set off firecrackers. Big Brother, how long are we waiting for? Little Brother Red was very nervous. Around 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, go and see if they are dead or not. Little Brother Green shouted out. Little Brother Red took a deep breath, then stood up and went to take a look. Soon after, he shouted out, Big Brother, they are not dead yet. What? Big Brother Green hurriedly ran over. As expected, they are not dead yet. Just kill me. Just kill me, the three were begging for death right now. This kind of bloodletting was nothing more than the cruelest torture. The spiritual energy in one's body was able to coagulate blood, and thus, while the blood was being coagulated, they would not die immediately. What people were afraid of was not death, but rather, they were afraid of waiting for death. Even though they knew that they were going to die soon, that kind of waiting was the cruelest and most painful torture. Big brother, what should we do? Little brother Red was very flustered. How would I know? Big brother Green was very vexed too. Suddenly, a black whirlpool appeared, and Wei Chang appeared while holding onto a thermos cup. Uncle Wei. Uncle Wei. The three looked at Wei Chang. I don't know him. Meanwhile, when Wei Chang saw the three's state, he went into a daze for a moment, then said happily. You guys did well, this kind of bloodletting method is indeed cruel and inhumane. I will report this matter to the boss will reward you guys. Green and Red brothers had a blank look on their faces. Is bloodletting inhumane? It's not like we are killing people. However, when Sun Yi and the other two heard what Wei Chang said, they were startled. Those two are subordinates, and the person who just came out is also a subordinate. If that is the case, then who is our boss? Chapter 231. Quickly deal with it, your sister-in-law has already bought the food and is waiting for you guys to eat. After finished speaking, Wei Chang disappeared. The Green and Red brothers let out a breath and looked at the three people. Big brother, how about we cut another artery, that way, it might be faster. Good idea. Right now, the three people couldn't even scold out even if they wanted to, they are simply inhumane. To actually abuse you guys like this, I curse you guys to die a horrible death. 10 minutes later, the Green and Red brothers returned to the rented house. Looking at the two people who appeared, Tang Wei said with a slight smile, you guys are not used to it, right? I was the same at the start as well, I just got used to killing and killing. Now that I think about it, I still feel a bit excited. The Green and Red brothers took a look at each other, and an evil smile appeared on the corner of their mouth. Thinking back to the scene just now, it was indeed very violent and exciting. Alright, don't just stand there, come over and eat. Thank you, sister-in-law. Thank you, sister-in-law. Wei Chang walked out from the bedroom and asked curiously, where did you guys throw the corpses to? Isn't it very conspicuous? Little brother, you tell them. Big brother Green poked his little brother. Little brother Red was a bit embarrassed as he said hesitantly, we left the corpses at the funeral parlor. Wei Chang, Tang Wei. Immediately, Wei Chang's angry scolding could be heard. The Green and Red brothers didn't even eat and immediately went to deal with the corpses. After the two left, Tang Wei smiled and said, they are still newbies, Uncle Wei, don't be angry. I am afraid that his honor will blame us. Wei Chang laughed bitterly. Tang Wei laughed lightly, then said faintly, Uncle Wei, our money is almost gone, we still have to feed them. Xiao Tang, you can be at ease, Uncle Wei won't let you suffer. Uncle Wei, I am not afraid of suffering, I am just afraid that you won't be able to keep up with your nutrition, and your illness won't be cured. Wei Chang was puzzled, then asked, Xiao Tang, just what illness do I have? Uncle Wei, it's fine as long as you know, there is no need to ask. How would I know? Alright, you aren't sick, right? Quickly come over and eat. Wei Chang was very helpless. As for the problem of money, I can only look for Death Mage. I hope that my little brother can have some money to deal with this emergency. Death Mage expressed that he would immediately deliver the money to Yi Hua. I forgot to bribe the betrothal gifts that I had snatched last time. Right now, Yi Hua was also distressed about money. Qinya is too ruthless, she isn't even giving me a single cent. Of course, I won't ask her for money. I can only look for my subordinates to get me some money to deal with this emergency. However, I have to express it in a more subtle way, I can't let them see that my money is being controlled. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have given that 50 billion to Qingya. Irritated, depressed. Your Honor. At this time, Wei Cheng suddenly sent a voice transmission. Yi Hua stood on the balcony of his office and smoked while looking at the hot pot restaurant that was not far away from him. What happened? Death Mage has something to offer to his honor. Yi Hua's eyes shone. Bring him to Leisure Bar's storage room. Yes. Yi Hua went downstairs and arrived at the storage room on the first floor. Wei Cheng could be seen bringing along Death Mage and Sun Fang. The three kneeled down respectfully and shouted out at the same time, "Subordinate pays respect to your honor." Yi Hua swept his gaze across everyone and shouted out with a deep voice, "All of you, get up." "Thank you, your honor." Looking at the mahogany chest at the side, Yi Hua asked faintly, "What's inside?" Death Mage hurriedly said, "Your honor, these are all small things that subordinate made, I hope that your honor will accept them." Yi Hua slowly walked over and opened up the mahogany chest. A golden light immediately lit up the entire room. When Yi Hua opened up the chest, he saw that the chest was filled with jewelry and a white fan. "Your honor, this is an ancient godly item, God Leaf Fan." Sun Fang added. Yi Hua casually threw the fan into the chest and said faintly, "I don't need these things." Death Mage and Sun Fang's heart sunk. "But, seeing that you two have put in so much effort, I will reluctantly accept them." Death Mage and Sun Fang became joyous and hurriedly kowtowed to Yi Hua. Yi Hua let out a breath. "Luckily, they didn't see that I am bankrupt. This is simply timely rain. This little skeleton is not bad. I didn't waste the marriage that I gave him." "What movements did Ing family make recently?" Yi Hua asked. Death Mage didn't reply. After all, his honor wanted Sun Fang to monitor Ing family's every movement. Replying to your honor, Ing family sent someone over to Voidless Realm to negotiate. Sun Fang was a lot more obedient in front of Yi Hua, she didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. "What is Voidless Realm?" Sun Fang replied, "Voidless Realm is one of the big powers in the north." "Oh, is that so? Let them negotiate then, it would be best if the negotiation fails." Yi Hua said faintly. "The more ruthless they fight, the happier I will be." "Wei Cheng, how did the Green and Red brothers perform today?" Wei Cheng replied respectfully, "The Green and Red brothers' performance was out of my expectations. Their killing methods were incomparably ruthless, and their methods were extremely frightening." "That's good, I like this kind of people." "After those three people died, is there any reaction from the south?" The three people didn't speak, seemingly, they didn't keep up with the intelligence. Yi Hua immediately wrinkled his brows. The three people immediately knelt onto the ground, subordinates have failed in their duties. Intelligence must keep up with the tempo, I don't want to be the last one to know. Yi Hua said coldly. In the past, I didn't know the importance of intelligence, but now, I know. Yes. The three people shouted out in unison. After scolding their subordinates, they still had to ask about their subordinates' private matters to show their concern. Sun Fang. Yi Hua called out. Subordinate is here. Yi Hua asked faintly, how are you getting along with my little skeleton? Sun Fang's beautiful face immediately became bright red. Subordinate, seems like this little skeleton didn't manage to do it. Wei Cheng, kill it. Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Wei Cheng nodded his head, yes. Death Mage was stupefied. Not only was Death Mage stupefied, Sun Fang was also stupefied. Your Honor. Sun Fang immediately knelt onto the ground and shouted out hurriedly. Yi Hua said gravely, Sun Fang, since you have joined my team, you should be clear of my rules. My team doesn't need useless people, and towards useless people, I will only kill them. Death Mage and Sun Fang never expected that things would turn out like this. Originally, they were here to send gifts, but they didn't expect that they would send a disaster instead. Little skeleton didn't manage to meet my requirements, and thus, he naturally won't be able to escape death. Wei Cheng, he is your subordinate, you go ahead and kill him. Yi Hua said faintly, not showing any signs of letting go. Towards Yihua's orders, Wei Chang would only obey and not go against it. Looking at Death Mage, Wei Chang said faintly, "Do you two have anything else to say?" "Your Honor. He didn't do anything wrong." Sun Fang hurriedly begged, completely unaware of how much she wanted Death Mage to die back then. Towards Sun Fang's begging, Yihua didn't pay attention to it. Death Mage put down his weapon and untied his black cloak, revealing his skeletal body. Lightly placing his hand onto Sun Fang's shoulder, Yihua told her not to anger his honor, if not, two of them would die. Chapter 232. Quickly kneel down and beg his honor, what are you standing there foolishly for? Looking at Death Mage, Sun Fang shouted out while choking with sobs. Death Mage took out his phone and typed a few words. Sun Fang, your wish is about to come true. Looking at these words, Sun Fang's tears finally fell. That's right, my wish is going to be realized, but why don't I want to realize it anymore? Without this adorable skeleton, who am I going to bully in the future? Who am I going to play games with in the future? For the sake of topping up money, I won't be able to see the scene of the skeleton emitting smoke anymore. Sun Fang let out a sigh, then kneeled in front of Yihua and said, Your Honor, subordinate's wish is to kill Death Mage, then kill myself afterward. Thank you, Your Honor, for helping Sun Fang take revenge, but please, Your Honor, after you take care of Death Mage, you can also take care of Sun Fang. Death Mage didn't even have time to type, and he let out a GGG sound. Royal translation, you're such an idiot. You actually want to die. Yihua looked at Sun Fang who was kneeling on the ground, and he seemed to be deep in thought. In actuality, I can spare its life, but are you willing to die in its place? Yihua asked. Sun Fang turned her head around and took a look at Death Mage, then said gravely, Sun Fang didn't want to live any longer. To be able to die in the hands of someone as powerful as Your Honor, Sun Fang feels that it is worth it. Fuck, his underling's underling used a skeleton body to pick up such a beautiful woman, and this woman actually dared to die for it. I, the Supreme Overlord, am so handsome, and yet, those two women still want to die with me. If I were to reveal my true body, wouldn't I have no choice but to go and commit suicide? We are both skeletons, but why are you so outstanding? That's good. This sovereign will fulfill your wish. Yihua slowly raised his hand, and a lump of golden flames emerged from his hand. Death Mage could be seen not caring about anything else as he immediately rushed forward and used his bones to protect Sun Fang. Your Honor, forgive subordinate for being rude. If Your Honor wants to kill someone, then go ahead and kill subordinate. Looking at Death Mage and Sun Fang, Yihua suddenly thought of an idea. I have never met with any difficulties before. If there comes a day when I am unable to hold on and am about to die, would they be like this? Yihua expressed his curiosity. After keeping the flames, Yihua said faintly, All right, I was just joking, look at how nervous the two of you are. A joke? You don't look like you're joking. Death Mage and Sun Fang were both stupefied, and Sun Fang's face turned red as she hurriedly pushed Death Mage away. Your Honor. Sun Fang's face was about to drip blood. His honor is so powerful, but I didn't expect that he would actually be so mischievous, to actually allow me and a skeleton to poke a hole in a piece of paper. Yihua said with a slight smile, Sun Fang, if you like him, then you like him. There is nothing wrong with that. Although he is of a different race, it doesn't matter. Your Honor. Sun Fang felt that she was going to dig a hole in the ground. Death Mage was overjoyed. This woman even said that she doesn't like me, and she is even willing to die for me. I am so touched, as expected of the ugly woman that I like. Yihua put away his smile and said calmly, Sun Fang, if you want to give birth to a child, I will bestow a body to it. I, the Supreme Overlord, can help you with this matter. Your Honor, I don't want to have a child with it. Sun Fang said shyly. Today, His Honor actually managed to see through my inner thoughts. When I return, I will definitely be laughed at by the skeletons. Alright, I agree to your request. Actually, not having children is also good. Death Mage and Sun Fang were both stupefied. His honor isn't taking the normal path. What he expressed just now was shyness. Who would talk about giving birth to a child at this time? Yihua waved his hand. The two of you can leave for now. From today onwards, you have to pay attention to the intelligence gathering. Yes. Yes. Death Mage brought Sun Fang and left. Seems like after returning to Ying family, the two of them are going to bicker with each other again. Wei Chang revealed out a respectful smile. Your honor truly sympathizes with subordinate, personally helping subordinate pull the strings of marriage, and even helping to break the gap between them. Subordinate is truly convinced by your honor. Sun Fang is a good woman, and similarly, she is also a good subordinate. Put her in an important position in the future. Subordinate understands. Alright, you can go back and accompany your Xiao Tang, I still have things to do. Yes. After Wei Chang left, Yihua opened up the mahogany box again and muttered, Qingya, you didn't expect this, right? I have a lot of money. But, how am I supposed to exchange the gold for money? Sell it for money? So troublesome. If I had known that this would happen, I would have asked them to exchange the gold for money. Forget it, everyone would know that I don't have any money. Yihua opened the door and walked out. Upon seeing that Donghuang Baiji was currently lying on the bar counter and sleeping, Yihua sighed. Even Sun Fang is willing to die for Death Mage, and yet, my own woman wishes for me to die. This is the difference between us, motherfucker. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have done what I did just now. I might as well order all of them to break up with each other. Before I settle the matter, I am not allowed to reconcile with each other. When Yihua arrived at the bedroom, he saw that the two beauties on the bed were actually not sleeping and were chatting with each other. When Qingya saw Yihua, the smile on her face immediately changed. When Dong Huangli saw Yihua, she shouted out with a smile, Daddy. Yihua carried his daughter who was lying on the bed and said with a smile, What are Ali and Aunt Qing talking about? Daddy, Ali and Aunt Qing are making a pinky promise, you can't tell others about it. If not, Ali will become a person who goes back on her words. Mommy often tells Ali that one must be honest and not lie to others. Hearing what Ali said, Donghuang Baiji was definitely talking about me. Qingya, who was lying on the bed, snorted. Ali is a big liar. Pinching onto his daughter's little nose, Yihua said faintly, Daddy, can you teach Ali a powerful technique? Papa, really? Of course it's true, why would Daddy lie to little Ali? That's great, Ali wants to learn it. After the father and daughter left, Qingya got off the bed and decided to go and have a chat with Donghuang Baiji. Yihua brought his daughter to his office and sat on the boss's chair. Dong Huangli stood on her father's lap with a face full of expectation. Yihua stretched out his index finger. Puff! A purple flame appeared on the tip of his finger, and it looked very beautiful. Dong Huangli was attracted by the flame in Yihua's eyes. Daddy, this purple flame is so beautiful, so beautiful. Ali, this is Sky Ghost Fire, one of the most powerful flames in history. It is capable of burning souls, do you want to learn it? Yihua said with a smile. Ali wants to learn it, but Ali is afraid that I won't be able to learn it and will disappoint Daddy. Dong Huangli's little mouth crooked. Silly child, there is no need to be afraid of failure, giving up on failure is what is scary. Yihua taught Ali attentively. I haven't been by Ali's side for more than 2 years, and I didn't expect that Ali's mentality would be so bad. How is that Dong Huang Baiji a mother? Dong Huangli pondered, then said seriously, Daddy, Ali understands, Ali will bravely try it. Daddy's good daughter, Ali, try it. As Yihua's bloodline, Dong Huangli inherited all of Yihua's innate skills, just that, she had yet to awaken them. Just like a character in a game, the character would have all of the skills, but the character would only be level 1, and would have to slowly unlock the skills. Dong Huangli imitated her father, stretched out her little index finger and looked at it earnestly. After a long while, not even a single spark appeared on the index finger. Ali became anxious, but she didn't want to disappoint her father. Thus, stubbornness could be seen on her little face. Chapter 233. He seemed to see his own shadow in Ali. Ali, don't be anxious. You have to be calm. More haste, less speed. Yihua guided attentively. After hearing those words, Dong Huangli gradually relaxed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Purple sparks could be seen coming out from Dong Huangli's finger. Dong Huangli was exulted, and even Yihua was stupefied. Puff! A small ball of sky ghost fire appeared on Ali's fingertip. Papa, Ali succeeded. Right now, Yihua was in a stupefied state. It took me an hour to condense out my bloodline, but Ali actually condensed out my bloodline in less than 20 minutes. As expected of my bloodline, this kind of innate talent is even a bit stronger than mine. If such thoughts were heard by others, they would definitely scold the father and daughter for being perverts. Sky's ghost fire would take at least a few hundred years to condense out, and it would also require all kinds of fire starters to fuse together. In the end, they were able to condense out the sky's ghost fire in just a few minutes, especially Dong Huangli, who was able to condense out the sky's ghost fire in less than 20 minutes. Yihua was still lamenting that the 1 hour that he had spent to condense out the sky's ghost fire was too long. Ali is really amazing. Yihua encouraged Ali and stroked the child's head. Ali narrowed her beautiful eyes as she enjoyed her father's touch. Yihua stretched out his hands, and various colored flames could be seen emerging from his fingertips. Ali, this will be your first lesson. Dong Huangli looked foolishly at the flame on her father's fingertip. So beautiful, so powerful, he must study hard and not let his father down. He must make his father proud. Right now, Dong Huangli's big eyes were shining with a firm conviction. Yihua was very satisfied. I wonder if Qingya's child will look like Ali. I'm really looking forward to it. While the father and daughter were cultivating their relationship upstairs, Qingya came downstairs and looked at Dong Huang Baiji, who was currently drinking wine. Taking a deep breath, Qingya walked over and sat beside Dong Huang Baiji, then poured herself a glass of wine. You are pregnant, yet you are still drinking? Dong Huang Baiji reminded, then slowly took a sip of wine. Qingya slightly went into a daze, then placed down the wine glass that was at the side of her mouth. Thank you for reminding me. The two women sat there without saying a word. The atmosphere was a little weird. These 3 years must have been very painful for you, right? Qingya said slowly. Dong Huang Baiji laughed lightly. Pain? It's a common occurrence. I've gotten used to it in the past 3 years. If Yihua had gone downstairs back then, perhaps, you wouldn't be in so much pain. Qingya said faintly. I feel that Dong Huang Baiji is also a victim. Based on what Ali said, Dong Huang Baiji's life isn't very comfortable. Dong Huang Baiji looked towards Qingya and said earnestly, Qingya, if Yihua had come down back then, you wouldn't be able to do anything anymore. Would you be willing to do that? Qingya didn't speak, because right now, she couldn't bear to part with Yihua, but at the same time, she was also angry. These two kinds of emotions intertwined together, causing Qingya to be unspeakably bitter. In actuality, if Yihua was a bit more of a rascal and coaxed the two women a bit more, he might be able to hug the two beauties back home. Unfortunately, Yihua wasn't that kind of person. This Dong Huang Baiji was even spanked, how could she not be angry? Qingya, in actuality, I am rather envious of you. Dong Huang Baiji said calmly. Her tone was indeed filled with envy, and she wasn't lying. Qingya laughed bitterly. What is there to be envious of? I am just an ordinary woman, and it's just that I have a bit of money and good looks, that's why I was tricked by Yihua to come here. Qingya, I envy your luck. Dong Huang Baiji let out a light sigh. Luck? When you came to look for him when you were pregnant, he immediately went down. I envy you. Dong Huang Baiji had a drunken smile on her face. Most probably, only when she was in this state would she reveal her inner thoughts. Qingye understood. If it was me, and Yihua didn't go down, I reckon that I would even have the heart to die. Meanwhile, Donghuang Baiji persisted for so long, and she even brought Ali along with her. In actuality, no one knew just how much pressure Donghuang Baiji was under. The pressure was brought by Voidless Realm, and the pressure was brought by the outside world. But now, everyone knew of Ali's existence, and it didn't matter anymore. Then, did Yihua explain why he didn't go down back then? Donghuang Baiji laughed in disdain. He did, just treat it as what he said was the truth. Could it be that he lied to you again? Qingye was a bit angry. Everything about Yihua is good, but he only knows how to lie. He said that it wasn't convenient for him to go down during those few days. Do you believe him? Donghuang Baiji herself laughed. Yihua doesn't even know how to lie. Can't he put some effort into making up a lie? Qingye went into a daze. Inconvenient? You aren't even a woman, what inconvenient about it? It was obvious that he was being perfunctory. Donghuang Baiji poured a cup to the brim and downed it in a single gulp. From this, it could be seen just how angry she was. After a while, Qingye said in a deep voice, actually, the two of you are very compatible. Both of you are cultivators. Qingye, you don't have to say that. It's not a matter of whether we are worthy or not, but he wants to forcefully keep us here. Qingye clenched her small fist. That's right, if I was more powerful than him, I would definitely beat him up and let him be the boss. Ha, your thoughts are exactly the same as mine. I want to hang Yihua up and give him a good beating, and let him know how formidable I am. Who asked him to lie to me? Although Yihua was clearly smiling, tears were flowing out from her beautiful eyes. How could Qingye not be in pain? When this atmosphere arrived, tears unconsciously flowed down from her eyes. Sitting at the bar counter, the two women burst into tears. However, this scene was witnessed by Yizizi, who came downstairs to grab some spicy sticks. While eating the spicy strip, Yizizi couldn't help but sigh in admiration. These two madams were really a good match. Even when they were crying, they almost cried together. After saying that, Yizizi skipped upstairs to play games. After crying enough, the two beauties' eyes were red and swollen, looking very sad. Donghuang Baiji choked with sobs. Qingye, do you want to leave this place? Yes. Qingye nodded her head. In actuality, she had long wanted to leave this place and calm down by herself. If there's a chance, I will bring you to Voidless Realm. The air there is good, it is suitable for nurturing the fetus. Qingye asked confusedly, Voidless Realm? And, that place is my territory, no one will disturb you. Even if Yihua comes, I will be able to make him back off. But we are unable to leave at all. Qingye sighed. Facing such a tyrant, how is it possible for us to run away? Donghuang Baiji naturally didn't know how to run away. Let's look at the situation first. He can't possibly lock us up forever, right? Baiji, you might not know this, but Yihua is really capable of doing such a thing. He isn't playing around with us. Qingye understood Yihua now. Although he dotes on you, once you provoke him, he won't be reasonable with you. Donghuang Baiji said coldly, how can I do that? I still have a lot of things that I have to deal with outside. Thinking about how I sneaked out this time, if I am discovered to be missing, wouldn't Voidless Realm be in chaos? No. I have to rush back. Thinking up to here, Donghuang Baiji pounded on the air wall and shouted out, Yihua! Get down here! Qingye was very confused. Stretching out her hand, she touched the air wall, but there wasn't anything there. Donghuang Baiji laughed bitterly. Qingye, this is the difference between you and me. Chapter 234. Yihua, who was currently watching Donghuang Li's practice, wrinkled his brows. What is this woman talking about again? Ah Li, practice properly. Yihua patted onto his daughter's head. Donghuang Li nodded her head earnestly. Ah Li understands. Walking down the stairs, Yi Hua was startled. They are actually together. What does that mean? Dong Huang Baiji, you really don't have the slightest bit of etiquette for shouting like this. Yi Hua shouted out gravely. As my woman, look at how she is acting right now, she is acting just like an auntie. If my subordinates were to see this, I, the Supreme Overlord, would truly be throwing away my face. Qingya wrinkled her brows and stood at the side without saying a word. She was even feeling a bit of sympathy for Dong Huang Baiji. However, he had been lectured like this in the past, but the situation now was different. Someone else was raising a child with you, but you didn't say anything nice. Instead, you scolded me the moment you came. Yi Hua. Let me out. Dong Huang Baiji hit the air wall and shouted out. Yi Hua stood outside of the air wall and looked at Dong Huang Baiji, then said faintly, if you don't have the slightest change, then just obediently stay here. Yi Hua, that's enough. Is there a need to imprison others? At this moment, Qingya also spoke out to persuade Yi Hua. This caused Yi Hua to be very unhappy. Just whose side are you standing on? Looking at Qingya, Yi Hua said coldly, Qingya, go upstairs and rest. No. I want to go out too. Qingya shouted out with a stern face. This caused Yi Hua to be even angrier. Do these two women really want to leave this place that much? I won't let it go. Qingya, don't make me angry again. Qingya didn't seem to be afraid at all, and continued to shout out, Yi Hua, let me tell you. I'm not your pet canary. Enough. Yi Hua shouted out angrily. This roar caused the two women to be stupefied. Right now, Yi Hua's expression was sinister, and a red light was flickering within his pair of black pupils. Yi Hua had been fighting for his entire life, and there was no one who was able to make him so angry. Even those overlords were unable to do so. However, Yi Hua didn't expect that he would be provoked by two women, and these two women were even his own women. Qingya. I'm talking to this woman. You can go upstairs and wait. After calming down the anger in his heart, Yi Hua said coldly. Qingya looked at Yi Hua in disbelief. He actually shouted at me, this bastard that deserves 1,000 cuts. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji could be seen picking up chairs and throwing them towards Yi Hua. Their expressions were that of wanting to kill Yi Hua. Yi Hua was angered to the point that his veins were about to pop out, and his handsome face had turned red from anger. Qingya. You asked for it. The two of you better stay here and don't go anywhere. With that, he turned around and went upstairs. Not only was the conflict within the family not resolved, it was becoming more and more intense, and now, even Qingya was locked up. Right now, Qingya was fiercely smashing the air wall with a chair and shouted out loudly, Yi Hua, I hate you. I hate you. Meanwhile, Dong Huang Baiji who was at the side was the same as well, Yi Hua, you bastard. I, Dong Huang Baiji, will never be your woman in my entire life. I, Qingya, am the same. I want a divorce. Facing the two women's various threats, Yi Hua slowly turned his head around and said coldly, then, the two of you shall stay here forever. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji powerlessly fell onto the ground, then hugged onto each other and cried bitterly. Soon after, the two of them hugged onto each other and cried bitterly. Yi Hua stood at the entrance of the staircase, then lit up a cigarette and started smoking. Now, even Qingya has become like that, there's no way I can continue living like this. Suddenly, Yi Hua thought of something and walked downstairs again, then shouted out faintly, Dong Huang Baiji, from today onwards, Ali's surname will be Yi. Dong Huang Baiji who was currently crying went into a daze, then began smashing the air wall crazily, Yi Hua. You don't have the right to do this, Ali is mine. You can't snatch her away. I'm just informing you, I'm not asking for your permission. After finished speaking, Yi Hua went upstairs. No. Yi Hua, you can't do this, Ali was raised by me, Ali. Ah. Dong Huang Baiji's heart-wrenching screams were extremely heart-wrenching. Dong Huang Baiji sat paralyzed on the ground and slapped the air wall powerlessly. This caused Qingye, who was at the side, to be very worried. She didn't care about herself and hurriedly comforted Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji is truly too pitiful. Dong Huang Baiji has been raising a child for so long, and right now, the moment Yihua takes over, he wants the child to change her name. Which mother would be able to endure such a thing? Yihua stood outside and smoked a cigarette, then walked into the office. Right now, Dong Huangli was seriously practicing, and her little face was filled with sweat. Right now, only my daughter can make me feel at ease, not a single other person can make me feel at ease. Daddy, when Dong Huangli saw that her father had arrived, she immediately stretched out her hands, wanting to hug Yihua. Yihua's mood became a lot better. He stretched out his hands and hugged his daughter. How is Ali's practice? Daddy, Ali is only able to condense fire, I am unable to control it, Dong Huangli said disappointedly. She was a bit afraid that her father would get angry, because back in Voidless Realm, if Ali couldn't reach her mother's requirements, her mother would punish her. Yihua naturally wouldn't. Pinching onto Ali's little face, he said, "It's alright, take your time." Seeing that her father didn't blame her and even comforted her, Dong Huangli became extremely happy and said, Ali likes daddy the most, children are like this, they will like whoever treats them well. While hugging onto his daughter, Dong Huangli sat on the sofa and took out a tissue to wipe Ali's sweat. Suddenly, Dong Huangli's brows wrinkled and she actually started crying. Ali, what's wrong? Yihua asked worriedly. Woo, daddy treats Ali too well. Mommy has never even wiped Ali's tears before. From the looks of it, Dong Huang Baiji was taught by a tiger mother. Don't cry, in the future, with daddy here, no one will dare to bully you. Yihua said gravely. I wonder how much suffering Ali has suffered together with Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huangli hugged onto her father tightly and cried. This feeling of being doted on by her father was unprecedented. Ali, daddy has something to tell you. Yihua said while caressing onto his daughter's hair. And Dong Huangli replied. Yihua said faintly, Ali, in the future, you will follow daddy's surname Yi. Ah, then Ali won't be called Dong Huangli anymore, will she be called Yili? And, that's right. Alright, Ali will listen to daddy's words. Dong Huangli agreed happily. However, she suddenly thought of something and frowned. Yihua was very happy. My daughter is so obedient and sensible. Daddy, if Ali's surname becomes Yi, mommy will be very sad. Dong Huangli opened her eyes wide and looked at her father. Ali doesn't want to follow daddy's surname? In actuality, Yihua didn't really care much about surnames. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. In the past, Yihua didn't know about it, but now that he knew about it, he definitely had to change it. Dong Huangli shook her head. Of course, Ali wants to follow daddy's surname, but if that's the case, mommy will be alone. Yihua remained silent. Although mommy is very strict with Ali can tell that mommy actually loves Ali a lot, just that mommy didn't say it out. Furthermore, mommy only has Ali, I'm afraid that mommy will be very sad. Chapter 235. Seeing that her father didn't say anything, Dong Huangli thought that her father was angry, thus she hurriedly said, Daddy, don't be angry, Ali will follow daddy's surname. However, in the future, when daddy and mommy have a child, one of them must follow mommy's surname. If not, mommy will be too lonely. Dong Huangli said pitifully. Upon hearing that, Yihua laughed. Ali truly loves mommy. Yes, Ali also loves Papa. Yihua said faintly, then, Ali shall follow mommy's surname. But Ali also wants to have Papa's surname. The little fellow felt extremely wronged. She pouted and looked very unhappy. Can a mere surname stop the love between us father and daughter? Right now, Dong Huangli liked Yihua even more. Dong Huangli kissed her father's cheek ferociously, while Yihua lifted Dong Huangli up. Oh, Ali can fly. Seeing that the little fellow was happy, Yihua was very happy too. At such a young age, he already knows how to dote on his parents. Papa, don't worry. I won't embarrass you in the future. This is more like my daughter. Hee hee. Upstairs, the father and daughter were getting along harmoniously, while downstairs, wailing endlessly. Even Qing Yutong and Yizizi, who were playing games, couldn't sit still anymore, and both of them came downstairs to take a look. In the end, Qing Yutong was instantly dumbfounded. Qing Yutong really didn't dare to believe that her brother-in-law would actually shut two people up in one go. I did ask you to be jealous, big sister. You shouldn't be jealous like this. Yizizi expressed that his honor was already very benevolent. If it was in the past, Yizizi would not only be locked up here, he would also be locked up in a place that was even more terrifying. Yutong, go up and talk to Yihua. I want to divorce him. Qingya's eyes were red and swollen as she lightly comforted Dong Huang Baiji, who was in pain. Yizizi blinked her beautiful eyes and said, Big sister-in-law, big cousin has a bad temper. Don't be angry. That's right, brother-in-law definitely didn't do it on purpose. Right now, Qing Yutong didn't dare to go and anger Yihua. If not, her butt would definitely be beaten swollen. Yizizi was thinking the same way as well. Right now, whoever stands on the side of Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji would be asking for a beating. Qingya pointed at the two of them and said in a low voice, You two traitors. During the crucial moment, he stood on Yihua's side. Sister, don't be angry. It's not like you don't know brother-in-law. Won't it be over if you act coquettishly? Qingya shouted out indignantly and shyly, I even acted coquettishly towards him. Let him go and die. Return my daughter to me. I want Ali. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji was choking with tears. Qing Yutong and Yizizi felt uncomfortable looking at this woman. This woman is truly very pitiful. Could it be that his honor doesn't know how to coax her? Sigh, Mama. Dong Huangli could be heard shouting out, then pounced over like a gust of wind. After not seeing her daughter for a few hours, Dong Huang Baiji immediately hugged onto Dong Huangli and said, Ali, Mama, why are you crying? Don't cry, Ali, wipe Mom's tears. The more sensible Dong Huangli was, the more sad Dong Huang Baiji cried. If I didn't lose my temper that day, this little fellow wouldn't have left the house, and wouldn't have met with this heartless father of mine. At this moment, Yihua walked over unhurriedly and said faintly, Yutong, go and bring the table over. It's time to eat. Oh. Qing Yutong and Yizizi immediately went to prepare the tableware. Qingya gnashed her teeth in anger. Traitor. The feeling of hugging a mother and hugging a father are different. A mother's embrace is warm, while a father's embrace is warm and safe. Mama, Daddy agreed to let Ali have the surname Dong Huang. Dong Huangli, who was nestled in her mother's embrace, said in a low voice. Dong Huang Baiji went into a daze, then raised her head and looked towards Yihua, who was smoking at the side. Will this man be so kind-hearted? I won't believe it even if I'm beaten to death. Dong Huangli could be heard adding a sentence. Daddy said that in the future, the child that he and Mommy give birth to must have the surname Yi. Cough, cough, cough. Yihua choked upon hearing his daughter's words. You still want my bloodline? That will have to depend on your performance. Do you think that it is that easy to obtain my bloodline? Wishful thinking. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out at Yihua for being shameless. To actually say such things to a child, and still want to give birth to a child with me, wishful thinking. In any case, I don't plan to pay attention to Yihua for the rest of my life. I am very angry, the kind that I can't coax. After setting up the dining table, Yihua brought over the meat of star-cleansing sparrow and golden delicate crane. Come and eat. Yihua shouted towards the two women. Mama, Aunt Qing, it's time to eat. Dong Huangli could be seen dragging the two women to the dining table. How could children be dragged by adults? It was just that Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji didn't resist. Qing Yutong couldn't take it anymore, and Yizizi was also drooling. This meat is pretty good, his honor sure knows how to live his life. Ali, when you are growing, eat more. Yihua said tenderly. Dong Huangli smiled sweetly. Ali will start eating then. Yihua nodded his head, giving his approval. Wow, Daddy, what meat is this? It is so delicious. Dong Huangli cried out in surprise. I have never eaten such delicious meat before. Qing Yutong laughed. Ali, eat this meat, you can become prettier too, really? In that case, Ali has to eat more, you will become prettier than mommy. Dong Huangli laughed happily. There was no need to talk about Yihua and Dong Huangbaiji's appearance, so how could the child that the two gave birth to be bad? The child would obviously not be bad, and the meat could only be said to be the icing on the cake. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji didn't move. It seemed like they were going on a hunger strike to protest against Yihua's actions. Qing Yutong and Yizizi noticed that the atmosphere wasn't quite right, thus they carried their plates and went upstairs to eat. Mom, Aunt Qing, why aren't the two of you eating? This meat is really delicious. Dong Huangli had already eaten 2 big pieces of meat, yet, she still wasn't satisfied. Aunt Qing is on a diet, Ali, you eat. Qingye gave her share to Ali. Mommy is on a diet too, Ali, you eat. Dong Huangbaiji didn't eat either. Looking at the 2 women's actions, I, the Supreme Overlord, like these 2 women. However, let's see how long you 2 can persevere for. Dong Huangli licked her lips. Ali won't be polite then. Hearing what Dong Huangli said, a trace of an arc appeared on the corner of the 2 women's lips, but very quickly, the arc disappeared. Daddy, Ali wants to sleep with mommy tonight, do you want to come? Dong Huangbaiji, Yihua said faintly, your mommy is currently under daddy's inspection, if you perform well, you will be able to sleep with daddy. Oh, is that so? Then, mommy, you have to perform well and strive to sleep with daddy as soon as possible. Dong Huangbaiji, Yihua took a sip of wine, then said faintly, Baiji, you bring Ali to sleep in the office today, I will go get a bed later on. Qingye, you sleep with me. Yihua, who was sitting in a big boss position, gave out his orders. Who wants to sleep with you? I would rather sleep on the floor than sleep with you. Qingye said with a cold expression. It's not up to you to say no. Chapter 236. After dinner, Yihua released the confinement of the 2 women and got a bed and placed it in the office. The bed will be Dong Huangbaiji's bedroom for the time being. Right now, Dong Huangbaiji was accompanying her daughter. It could be said that this was the first time that Dong Huangbaiji was wholeheartedly accompanying her daughter. On the other hand, Qingye was brought into the bedroom by Yihua. To be more precise, Qingye was carried into the bedroom by Yihua, and Qingye was even crying and throwing a tantrum in the bedroom, causing Yihua to feel extremely miserable. Yihua could only cast a spell on Qingye, and only then did Qingye fall asleep peacefully. If it was possible, Yihua wanted to directly cast a spell to turn Qingye into the kind of woman that he wanted. However, if he were to use it, Qingye would no longer be Qingye. She would just be an empty shell without a soul, and this was not what Yihua wanted. Lying on the comfortable bed, Yihua hugged onto Qingye as usual and lightly wiped away the tear stains on the corner of Qingye's eyes. Why don't you listen to me? If you're a little more obedient, I won't bully you. You still dare to say such foolish words like wanting a divorce? If it was in the past, I would have smacked your buttocks until they were swollen, and you even froze my card. You are truly a little mischievous. While speaking, Yihua himself started laughing. Qingye is just so charming, even if she gets angry, Yihua would still like her. As for his feelings towards Dong Huangbaiji, Yihua didn't have a deep impression of her. He just felt sorry for what happened in the past, and at the same time, he was also thankful that Dong Huangbaiji gave birth to Ali. Just based on this point alone, Yihua would definitely protect Dong Huangbaiji. After all, Dong Huangbaiji was already his woman, how could he possibly leave her outside? That was impossible. Within the office, Dong Huang Baiji was currently hugging onto her daughter as she slept. Ever since Ali was born, she had never hugged onto her daughter to sleep like this. As a mother, Dong Huang Baiji truly felt ashamed and a failure. However, after this incident, Dong Huang Baiji decided that she would often accompany her daughter and let her feel the warmth of a mother. Looking at Ali, who was nestled in her bosom, Dong Huang Baiji revealed out a slight smile. The smile of an empress is truly incomparably beautiful. Gulp, the empress was still a human, after all. Without spiritual power, she, too, would be hungry. Since arriving here yesterday, other than having a pancake in the morning, the rest of his food had been alcohol. He didn't eat anything at noon or at night. Now that he was in a better mood, he was hungry. Dong Huang Baiji covered her daughter's body with the blanket, then got down from the bed to see if there was anything to eat. Voidless Realm's empress was just like a little thief as she searched for food everywhere. However, there was nothing to eat in the entire office. Stealthily opening the door to take a look, only to discover that Yihua wasn't there. Thus, I might as well go downstairs to look for Yihua. On the bar counter, other than wine, there was only more wine. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji did not want to drink wine. If not, Ali would say that there was a smell of wine on her body. There should be something to eat here, right? Dong Huang Baiji walked towards the leisure bar's storage area. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find anything to eat, only drinks. What Yihua didn't know was that Yihua had already hidden away the spicy gluten to prevent Qing Yutong from secretly eating spicy gluten every day. There should be some food in this storage room, right? I am about to starve to death. It had been a long time since Dong Huang Baiji experienced the feeling of hunger. After all, with the support of spiritual energy, even if she didn't eat for an entire month, it would still be fine. He opened the door of the storage room. It was pitch black inside. He touched the edge of the door. Pa! When the light was turned on, Dong Huang Baiji was immediately overjoyed. Master Kang's instant noodles, and there were even boxes of them. Open the package and take out a bucket. Finally, I don't have to suffer from hunger anymore. This damnable Yihua, to actually make me, the empress, come out in the middle of the night to look for food. Holding on to the instant noodles, Dong Huang Baiji turned around and walked out of the restaurant. Suddenly, Dong Huang Baiji stopped her footsteps and slowly turned her head around to look at a corner. Why does this mahogany box look so familiar? Walking forward, Dong Huang Baiji opened one of the boxes, and inside the box was all gold. Looking at the mark on the gold, Dong Huang Baiji's expression changed. Soon after, Dong Huang Baiji opened the other boxes, and when she saw the god leaf fan, she was certain. So it was Yihua who intercepted and killed my people. If not, why would these betrothal gifts be here? This bastard actually killed my people. Yihua! Get down here! Dong Huang Baiji roared loudly and clenched her fists tightly, looking like she was going to fight Yihua to the death. Yihua, who was on the bed, wrinkled his brows. What is this woman doing again? Immediately disappearing from the bed, Yihua arrived at the storage room. Not sleeping in the middle of the night, what are you doing here? Yihua stood behind Dong Huang Baiji and asked. Dong Huang Baiji fiercely punched towards Yihua's face. Unfortunately, the speed of the punch was too slow, and Yihua grabbed onto it. Dong Huang Baiji, enough is enough. Don't think that just because you are my woman, you can be rude to me. Yihua tightly wrinkled his brows and lectured. Where did all these things come from? Dong Huang Baiji's eyes revealed out an ominous glint. This man is taking revenge on me for marrying someone else, which is why he snatched the betrothal gifts and killed my people. Yihua took a look at the red wooden box at the side and said faintly, what does where they came from have to do with you? Quickly go back and sleep. You bastard, did you snatch them because you know that they are my betrothal gifts? Dong Huang Baiji questioned. Yihua's expression immediately became serious. Betrothal gifts. You want to marry someone? That's right, But I am not marrying someone, I am marrying someone. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out. Yi Hua immediately felt bad, and the strength of his hand became stronger and stronger. Dong Huang Baiji could feel the strength of Yi Hua's hand, and her wrist felt like it was going to break, but she did not make a sound. You want to make me a cuckold? Yi Hua's ice-cold voice seemed to have come out from hell, causing one's heart to tremble with fear. That's right, I want to make you a cuckold, what are you going to do about it? Yi Hua's face was slightly twitching, and his gaze was changing, seemingly wanting to return to the state he was in 5 years ago. Looking at Yi Hua's current state, Dong Huang Baiji felt a bit scared from the bottom of her heart. Suddenly, Yi Hua let go of Dong Huang Baiji's hand and fell onto the ground powerlessly. The demon that had been in a coma for 5 years was slowly waking up, and the remaining humanity that was left in him was slowly being devoured by the demon. This woman actually dared to make me a cuckold. Damn it! Everyone has to die. Dong Huang Baiji started panicking, because Yi Hua's current state was just like him going berserk. However, even though it felt great to see Yi Hua like this, she still couldn't bear to do it. Yi Hua. What happened to you? Dong Huang Baiji hurriedly helped Yi Hua up and asked nervously. Yi Hua stared fixedly at Dong Huang Baiji and asked, You made me a cuckold? You snatched my betrothal gifts, who am I going to find to make you a cuckold? Dong Huang Baiji was speechless. Is there no logic at all? Yi Hua was startled, and the demon within his body gradually went back to sleep. His humanity had completely won. In that instant just now, Yi Hua thought that Dong Huang Baiji had already made him a cuckold. This is completely unacceptable, and I even had the heart to kill everyone. However, I was mistaken, I only had this thought, but I didn't succeed. However, even if I had this thought, it wouldn't work. Chapter 237. Pulling Dong Huang Baiji into his embrace, Yi Hua asked coldly, Why do you want to cuckold me? Dong Huang Baiji struggled in Yi Hua's embrace, but it was useless. I want to cuckold you, you ungrateful fellow. Yi Hua pressed Dong Huang Baiji onto his thighs, then raised his hand and slapped. Ah! Dong Huang Baiji couldn't help but let out a moan. This is truly shocking. You bastard, you hit me again. Pa! Ah! Yi Hua said coldly, Baiji, if not for Ali, I would have smacked your butt until it swells. Go ahead and hit me then, I will tell my daughter about it later. Let's see how her father hits her mother. Dong Huang Baiji's words seemed to be revealing some information, causing Yi Hua to stop. Adding on Dong Huang Baiji's concerned expression just now, Yi Hua felt that this woman definitely still had feelings for him. Baiji, do you still like me? Yi Hua asked curiously. Even if I like a ghost, I won't like you. A woman who says one thing but means another, she's the same as Qingya. Yi Hua turned around and pressed Dong Huang Baiji onto the ground, then immediately kissed her. Dong Huang Baiji opened her eyes wide and struggled with all her might. However, facing the terrifying Yi Hua, she was completely useless. Yi Hua's sinful hand stretched into Dong Huang Baiji's body and moved around Dong Huang Baiji's delicate body. Every inch of Dong Huang Baiji's body felt extremely good to the touch. Compared to 3 years ago, Dong Huang Baiji's body was much more supple and supple. This situation made Dong Huang Baiji think back to that night 3 years ago. That night was filled with both pain and happiness. Baiji, you are the same as 3 years ago, feeling fast. Yi Hua took out his sinful hand and waved it in front of Dong Huang Baiji's eyes. Dong Huang Baiji didn't know where she got the strength from, but she pushed Yi Hua to the side, then ran out while covering her face. Yi Hua didn't chase after her, he sat on the ground and laughed lightly, seems like my charm is still the same as back then. Dong Huang Baiji, who ran upstairs, crawled into her blanket, her face was extremely beautiful with a blush. Thinking back to what happened just now, why am I so useless? Originally, I wanted to settle the score with him, but in the end, I was, even feeling. I am so embarrassed. At this moment, the Empress was like a little woman in love. That kind of coquettish pout and bashful anger was especially charming. Actually, for some reason, when she saw those big red wooden chests, she felt a little happy. Hearing that the office door was opened, Dong Huang Baiji wrinkled her brows. Why did he come in? Could it be that he wanted to? Bastard, my daughter is still asleep. He heard the door being closed again and the footsteps leaving. Dong Huang Baiji raised her head slightly and took a look. This person came in and then went out. What was the meaning of this? Looking at the instant noodles on the coffee table, Dong Huang Baiji immediately understood. I, the Empress, have lost all of my face. In any case, he had already lost all his face. What's the big deal? Let's make some noodles first. She didn't expect him to prepare a super large ham sausage. He was quite attentive. Crazy hints. The fragrance of the instant noodles quickly woke up Dong Huangli, who was asleep. Whoosh, seeing that her mommy was eating noodles, Dong Huangli rubbed her big eyes. Mommy, what are you eating? Mommy is eating instant noodles. Dong Huang Baiji felt very awkward, being caught by her daughter while eating instant noodles secretly. Ali, come over, mommy will feed you. Ali, come over, mommy will feed you. Dong Huangli, who had tasted instant noodles for the first time, felt that it was great. The noodles are elastic and tenacious, and the taste is also super fragrant. In just a few moments, the mother and daughter finished eating a bucket of instant noodles. Mommy, Ali isn't full, I'm hungry, Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth. Dong Huang Baiji also wanted to eat instant noodles, she wasn't full at all. Let's go down and get some, but Ali can't tell Daddy, if not Daddy will be very fierce. And Li will keep it a secret. The mother and daughter secretly ran downstairs and brought back 2 more buckets of instant noodles. The fragrance is so fragrant. Yi Hua, who was hugging onto Qingya, laughed lightly. This Dong Huang Baiji is a bit interesting, she suits my taste. The torturous day was finally over, and at the same time, a new day had arrived. Who knows what will happen on this day? Voidless Realm's morning was just like a fairyland. Clouds and mist lingered around the place, and spiritual energy was abundant. It was an exceptionally good place to train. Right now, within the palace hall, the 8 elders had a grave expression on their faces. The throne was completely empty, and it was truly making them anxious. I think that there is something wrong with this matter. Yuanda shouted out angrily. Xing Han stroked his beard and said, Brother Yuan, why do you say such a thing? The little prince has mysteriously disappeared, and now, the Empress has also disappeared. Is this still not enough to prove that something is wrong? Yuanda shouted out with his hands behind his back. The Empress has already disappeared for an entire day, how can I not be worried about such a big matter? What Brother Yuan said is extremely true, I also think that the disappearance of the Empress and the little prince isn't a coincidence. Most probably, someone planned this. Perhaps, it might be that group of robbers. He Xian agreed with Yuanda's opinion. Xing Han shook his head, the Empress is very strong, who would be able to kidnap the Empress? Most probably, the Empress missed her daughter very much and went out to look for her daughter. Everyone remained silent. Everyone would rather believe in this speculation, no one wanted anything to happen to the Empress. An imperial guard suddenly ran into the palace hall and shouted out, Ying families Ying Shang and Ying Kangsha request to meet the Empress. Yuanda waved his hand, and the imperial guard left the palace respectfully. This is great, where are we going to find an Empress? Yuanda stomped his feet angrily. Of all times, the Empress had gone missing. Everyone remained silent. He Xian said in a deep voice, how many forces in this world do you think can kidnap the Empress? Ying family, Ji family. Everyone blurted out. He Xian continued, this time, Ying family is definitely here to demand an explanation. However, the Empress isn't here, can they be willing? He Xian. You are saying that Ying family kidnapped the Empress, and then deliberately came here, just to find an excuse to start a war. Yuanda exclaimed. He Xian nodded his head, but still said, maybe I am thinking too much. I would rather kill the wrong person than let them go, I might as well take their lives. Xing Han was also a cruel and merciless person. He Xian shook his head and said indifferently, if the empress was really kidnapped by the Ying family, killing them would also put the empress in danger. If the empress wasn't kidnapped by them, but by the Ji family, it would be a situation of watching the tigers fight. In that case, we can't kill the people of Ying family anyway. Yuanda sneered. Without the empress to take charge of the overall situation, it was really a mess. He Xian nodded his head. Yuanda, you come with me to meet the empress first and appease her. After all, if the empress was in such a situation, her reputation would be in danger. Not only would her reputation be in danger, everyone in the cultivation world was talking about the empress. Behind this illegitimate daughter, was there a degeneration of morals, or was there a distortion of human nature? No matter what, although no one said it out loud, but it had already spread. The empress's man was really awesome. Chapter 238. Yuanda and He Xian came to the living room to welcome the two from the Ying family. Ying Shang and Ying Kangshi did not put on stern expressions. Ying Shang was in a normal state, while Ying Kangshi looked excited. He was about to see the empress, and just thinking about it made him really excited. When the four of them met, it was inevitable that they would be polite to each other. Ying Kangshi couldn't hold himself back anymore and asked, when is the empress coming? He Xian smiled. Young Master Ying, the empress is currently in seclusion, and it will be a very long time before she comes out. Does that mean that the empress isn't willing to see us? Ying Shang's attitude instantly changed. This was clearly an excuse. Ying Kangshi hurriedly said, it doesn't matter. We'll just wait. Shut up. You good for nothing. Ying Shang sternly rebuked. Why did his elder brother ask him to bring such an idiot with him? With a gloomy expression, Yuanda said coldly, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but your majesty indeed had the intention of forming a marriage alliance with the Ying family. However, it seems that your son is impotent, so the marriage alliance is naturally nullified. Moreover, the betrothal gifts were stolen on the way. Bang! Ying Shang slammed the table. His eyes were as big as copper bells, and his eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. Whatever your empress says. Are you playing around with my Ying family? Third uncle, calm down. The empress definitely doesn't mean that. Ying Shang raised his hand and delivered a slap. How could there be such a man in the Ying family? Had he been eaten by a dog? With a single slap, Ying Kangshi fell to the ground. He covered his face in a delicate manner. Coupled with his androgynous voice, he looked exactly like a transvestite. Third uncle, you hit me. I want to tell father about this. Calling him daddy when he can't win was the character of a child. Yuanda and He Xian looked at each other. It was a good thing that Ying Kangshi was crippled. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for the empress to marry such a man. That resume was all fake. Only by seeing the real person would one know the person's character. Actually, Ying Kangshi couldn't be blamed for this. After being raped, he had already started to develop his femininity. Sometimes, he would even use his flower-pinching finger, making it hard for people to defend against it. Bastard, I really want to King chop you into pieces. Ying Shang was infuriated when he heard Ying Shang's words. He had brought Ying Shang out to embarrass himself. He might as well lock him up on the island in the future. He Xian smiled and said, young Master Ying is still immature. You don't have to make things difficult for him. This was a blatant mockery. Was such an insensible man worthy of the empress? Obviously not. He Xian, Ying Shang, will make my words clear today. If your empress doesn't come out and explain herself, I'll make it clear. 3 days later, Ying family's army will come and greet us. With Yuanda's explosive temper, he suddenly stood up and shouted out, sure, our voidless realm will be waiting for your arrival. He Xian face-bombed. I really can't take it anymore. You guys are too casual. Ying Shang did not expect the other party's attitude to be so unyielding. Originally, he only wanted to scare the other party, but now it was hard for him to back down. All right. See you in 3 days. After saying that, he picked up Ying Kangshi. Ying Kangshi shouted, I don't want to go. I want the Empress. Ying Shang knocked him out with a single slap. What a disgrace. Watching the two of them leave, Yuanda said angrily, I'll kill them now. If we kill them now, we can't guarantee that the Ji family will also intervene. Don't forget that they are all from the south. He Xian shook his head. When two armies fought, they wouldn't kill the envoys. Everyone understood this principle. You guys are too hasty. You want to fight just like that? Yuanda was also speechless. The other party had already said that he would fight. Could it be that he had to admit defeat? Who has Voidless Realm ever been afraid of? Ying Shang rushed back to Ying family and immediately called for a meeting. All of Ying family's relatives were present, of course, other than Death Mage and Sun Fang. Sun Fang was only a supervisor and didn't interfere with Ying family's internal affairs. This made Ying family let out a sigh of relief. Family head, Voidless Realm is really going too far, that Empress doesn't even want to see us. Ying Shang reported the matter to his family head. Right now, Ying Kangshi woke up and said hurriedly, Father, perhaps the Empress is really in closed-door training. Ying Kangshi. Just which side are you on? Ying Shang lectured coldly. As the family head, Ying Jingshan still doesn't know about his son's character. Since Voidless Realm has accepted the challenge, then let's fight. My Ying family has been quiet for too long, it's time for the world to witness the strength of my Ying family. No one objected to Ying Jingshan's words. Ying family has been too low profile, and they are making use of this opportunity to rise up. Father. Shut up, from today onwards, you are grounded. Ying Jingshan originally just wanted to see his son's reaction, but the result was still the same. Ying Jingshan no longer held any hope in his heart. Father, Ying Kangshi's moan shocked everyone present, and some of them even felt like vomiting. No matter what, you are still a man of Ying family, how can you act coquettishly like a woman? Scram! Ying Jingshan shouted out sternly. Ying Kangshi stomped his feet, then walked out of the Ying family. Upon seeing this, the family members shook their heads. Ying family is truly a disgrace. Family head, should we inform Lord Sun about this matter? After all, our Ying family is really going to make a big move. Ying Shang warned. It was still necessary to inform Ying Jingshan of this matter. If by any chance his honor were to be angered, Ying family would have to face the consequences. Ying Jingshan nodded his head, everyone, prepare yourselves, I will go right now. The family members stood up, and killing intent emerged from their bodies as they shouted out in unison, yes. With a calm look on his face, Ying Jingshan took the lead and walked out of the hall, preparing to report this matter to Lord Sun. Standing outside of an ordinary room, Ying Jingshan was actually very puzzled. Why would they choose to live in such a remote place when they have such a good house? They are truly not greedy at all, but when I think about the treasures that were dug out, my heart aches, little skeleton. Be gentler, your fingers are hurting me. GGG, Imperial Translation, I will be gentler then. Immediately, a comfortable moan could be heard, be gentler, this is comfortable, move a bit more to the left, that's right, the most important, comfortable little skeleton, your technique is not bad. GGG, Imperial Translation, I have an even faster hand speed, do you want to give it a try? Ying Jingshan, who was standing outside of the room, felt very awkward. They are currently having fun in the bedroom, it doesn't seem good to disturb them like this. I should just wait for a while. The two people in the room were both sitting on the bed. Sun Fang's back was facing Death Mage, and Death Mage was using his fingertips to scratch Sun Fang's itch. Alright, stop scratching, there are people coming from outside, I will go and take a look. Sun Fang rolled her eyes at Death Mage. Ever since the two of them had pierced through that last piece of paper, the atmosphere between them had often become ambiguous. Death Mage was no longer as domineering as before and had become like a little puppy. Death Mage picked up his phone and began tapping on the screen, "Bayubayubayu." Recently, he had returned back to the fishing world. Don't ask why, it was because he had money now. And right now, Sun Fang also didn't want to kill Death Mage. Recently, she had been playing Honor of Kings, and Death Mage was not interested in that game. What fun is there in being the boss if you can't top up your money? Is there anything? Sun Fang opened the door and asked. Chapter 239. Lord Sun, it's like this, 3 days later, my Ying family will be attacking Voidless Realm, and I came over to inform you about this. Ying Jingshan bowed and said respectfully. Attacking Voidless Realm, isn't this the result that his honor wants? Sun Fang nodded. I understand. If there's nothing else, then go and prepare. Alright. After greeting them, Ying Jingshan went to take charge of the overall situation. They had to win this battle no matter what. After all, this was the first battle that the Ying family was going to face after leaving the mountain. After returning back to the room, Sun Fang told Death Mage about what happened. Death Mage didn't report this matter to his honor. After all, his honor had already said that it would be better for them to fight as fiercely as possible. Sun Fang leaned on Death Mage's shoulder bone and opened up the game. She said faintly, Battle of the World seems to have brought heavy dust to the sea to look for treasures. Kakik. Imperial translation, he's dug up the entirety of the Ying clan's island. Sun Fang sighed. If only you could speak human language. I have to guess every time. Imperial translation, you can go and beg his honor then. In any case, I'm not going to go and beg his honor. If not, his honor would think that I like you a lot. Are you telling me to go and beg his honor? I'm not going to go and strangle you, you are making it seem as if I like you a lot. There isn't even a bit of flesh on your body, and when you lean against me, it feels very hard. After finished speaking, Sun Fang took a pillow and placed it on her shoulder bone. Death Mage was speechless. Only yesterday, his honor said that he was going to bestow me with a fleshly body. You are the one who is not willing to give me a fleshly body. Sun Fang was also very depressed. If I had known that this would happen, I would have not cared about my face yesterday and asked his honor to bestow me a body. I have a boyfriend, yet I am unable to touch him. His subordinates women were thinking of ways and means to push each other down, and as the boss, Yi Hua was currently thinking of how to make them stop, let alone push each other down. Holding on to Qingye who had a cold expression on her face, Yi Hua came to buy fruit crepes again. The middle-aged woman smiled but did not say anything. This young man brought one a day. He was really amazing. Was he not afraid of failing? Haha, this Captain Yi Hua's ship had already capsized long ago, and he is currently in the midst of making up for it. Qingye, don't have such a cold face, smile a bit. Yi Hua said lightly. In actuality, Qingye who had a cold face was very interesting, and I feel that it is very challenging. Move aside. Qingye shouted out coldly and fiercely took a bite of the Chinese jianbing. My stomach is about to shrivel up from hunger, I can't let my stomach suffer when I get angry at him. Eat slowly, no one is going to fight with you over your food. Yi Hua couldn't help but tease, then took the lead and walked into leisure bar. Qingye who was at the back said fiercely, I don't want to, I want to eat big mouthfuls of food, what can you do to me? While holding on to the Chinese crepe, Yi Hua walked into the office. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji had already woken up, and Dong Huang Li was still sleeping soundly. I bought breakfast for you. Yi Hua placed the Chinese jianbing on the coffee table. Get out. Dong Huang Baiji stood beside the window with her back facing Yi Hua. Eat less instant noodles. Do you think I won't know if you throw it away? The whole house is filled with that smell. Dong Huang Baiji said gravely, "It's none of your business." Yi Hua slowly walked towards Dong Huang Baiji, and when Dong Huang Baiji heard the footsteps getting closer and closer, her heartbeat became faster and faster. Reaching out his hands, he hugged her slender waist and pulled her into his arms. "Let go of me." Dong Huang Baiji shouted out gravely. Yi Hua said faintly, "Baiji, although you are very dishonest, your body is much more honest than other people." "You scoundrel." A layer of redness appeared on Dong Huang Baiji's fair face. "Although I haven't been with you for a long time, I know what you are thinking. If not, you wouldn't have resisted." Yi Hua moved closer to Dong Huang Baiji's ear and said, causing Dong Huang Baiji's heart to be in a mess. "You are grabbing onto my hand. How am I supposed to resist?" Yi Hua laughed lightly, "Baiji, for the sake of Ali, we should let go of our grudges. I hope that Ali can have a mother's love and care, and of course, I can't lack my love and care as well. We will be a family." Dong Huang Baiji became silent, because this was what she desired the most from the bottom of her heart. For the sake of Ali, she was willing to try. Seeing that Dong Huang Baiji became silent, Yi Hua's pair of evil hands started moving around again. "Stop messing around. Our daughter is here." Dong Huang Baiji shouted out. "Baiji, are you saying that if our daughter isn't here, I can do it? Go and die." What a hypocritical woman. Although you are saying that you don't want to do it, your body has already fallen into my embrace. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Dong Huang Baiji said in disdain, "You definitely cast a spell on me. If not, how would I be like this?" "Baiji, don't lie to yourself anymore, you do like me." "Bullshit." Dong Huang Li, who was on the bed, rubbed her eyes, then turned her head around and looked towards her father and mother, then cried out in surprise, "Daddy, Mommy, have you two reconciled?" Ali is too happy. Yi Hua let go of Dong Huang Baiji and carried his daughter into his embrace. "Daddy has forgiven Mommy." "That's great, Daddy is so handsome." After saying that, Dong Huang Baiji kissed Dong Huang Baiji. Soon after, Dong Huang Baiji didn't forget to kiss her mother as well. What a harmonious family of three. However, Yi Hua knew that if he wanted to make the two of them submit to him wholeheartedly, this was not enough at all. Yi Hua had been thinking for the entire night. Because back in the storage room, Dong Huang Baiji's concern had touched Yi Hua. This meant that only when I am in danger would they reveal their sincerity. From the looks of it, I have to hold the second meeting today to discuss how to make me in danger without losing his honor's face. "Baiji, bring Ali to wash up and eat breakfast, I have something to do." Yi Hua said and walked out of the office. Dong Huang Baiji carried her daughter. "Ali, do you like Daddy a bit more? Or do you like Mommy a bit more?" Ali likes both of them." Dong Huang Baiji pinched onto her daughter's little nose lovingly. "You little fellow, you also know how to play dumb." "Hee Ali loves Mommy the most, Mommy loves Ali too." The relationship between the mother and daughter slowly warmed up. After all, the previous Dong Huang Baiji was very strict, and the current version of Dong Huang Baiji was more like a mother. Seeing that Qingya was going upstairs, Dong Huang Baiji shouted out, "Qingya, there is something that I need your help with." "En?" Qingya was very puzzled. "Come in and talk." Dong Huang Baiji appeared to be very sneaky, as if she was afraid of being discovered by Yi Hua. Qingya could tell that Dong Huang Baiji seemed to have a way to help Yi Hua, and thus, Dong Huang Baiji entered Qing Yutong's room stealthily. "Sit." Dong Huang Baiji said with a smile. Qingya asked curiously, "You seem to be in a good mood today." Upon hearing Qingya's question, Dong Huang Baiji's expression immediately changed. "Who is in a good mood today?" "Qingya, do you still remember the matter that we talked about yesterday?" Dong Huang Baiji asked. "You are talking about leaving this place?" Dong Huang Baiji nodded her head. Chapter 240. Dong Huang Baiji naturally knew that. After all, as a woman who was once an empress, her way of thinking would definitely be different. Qingya, what we need to do is very simple, as long as we anger Yi Hua, he will let us go. Are you sure that you want to let us go and not spank our butts? Qingya didn't believe it. That fellow loves to spank and touch people's butts. Dong Huang Baiji wasn't very sure. Why are you in a hurry to go out? Qingya asked curiously. Dong Huang Baiji let out a breath. I have a very urgent matter to deal with at home. The two women became silent. Qingya's gaze could be seen revealing a firm look. Let's try, isn't it just a spanking? In any case, I am pregnant and he won't spank me, but you, I have Ali. Dong Huang Baiji was smart now, she looked for her daughter for help. The two women looked at each other and smiled. If we go out, where do you plan to go? Dong Huang Baiji asked while pouring a cup of water for Qingya. This was the first time Dong Huang Baiji poured a cup of water for someone after she became an empress. Qingya shook her head, I don't know. Let's go to my place, after all, my place is safe and suitable for nurturing the fetus. Children are more important. Qingya didn't dare to go back, and she also didn't want to go back to her home in Gaohai City. Qingya sighed, let's see if we can get out first. All right. While the two women were planning to break out of the prison in the office, Yi Hua successfully held the second meeting in the toilet. Yi Zizi, Wei Cheng, and Lai Gu stood respectfully in front of Yi Hua, waiting for his honor's orders. I am currently facing the biggest crisis in history. Yi Hua said gravely. The three shouted out in unison, subordinates are willing to solve your honor's problems. Very good. I have decided to learn from humans and become a hero to save the beauties. Yi Hua seemed to have already seen Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji being so touched that they would pounce into his embrace, then act coquettishly. His beautiful life was about to begin again, and in the future, he would also be a person who would be hugging beauties on his left and right. While fantasizing, Yi Hua revealed an arc on the corner of his mouth. Yi Hua pouted her small mouth and said, but your honor, those heroes that saved the beauties that we met in the past didn't end up well, they were all killed by us. Zizi, are you saying that I can't be a hero and save the beauty? Yi Hua, who was a little complacent just a moment ago, immediately became serious. Yi Zizi said sweetly, Zizi is a girl. Of course, I know what the madams are thinking. Although the hero saving the beauty can make them feel better, it can't achieve the best effect. After all, the hero saving the beauty is a bit old. Hearing what Yi Zizi said, Yi Hua also felt that this was an old trick. The two of them are so smart, if they were to see through this old trick, it would be awkward. My reputation would be ruined because of this old trick. Wei Cheng, tell me. Wei Cheng wrinkled his brows and said in a deep voice, Your Honor, since ancient times, heroes have always found it hard to resist the charms of a beautiful woman. However, there is a need to lay the foundation in order to win the heart of a beautiful woman. Yi Hua's eyes lit up. Seems like Wei Cheng has improved. Go on. The hero saving the beauty is a good idea, but in terms of the result, we should be more outstanding. Wei Cheng smiled, thinking that this method was feasible. Lai Gu immediately slapped his thigh, I understand. Gluttonous monster's meaning is to let your honor display his godly might and let the madams be immersed in your honor's heroism and be unable to extricate themselves from it. Lai Gu cried out in surprise. I didn't expect that this gluttonous monster is becoming more and more intelligent. Yi Hua felt that it wasn't that it was impossible, but it was lacking something. Yi Hua said faintly, Ever since I came here, I have never come across any danger, let alone any danger that threatened my life. Your Honor, what subordinate is talking about is this point. Wei Cheng explained. Yi Hua indicated to Wei Cheng to continue speaking. The madams love your honor, that is an undeniable fact. This bootlicking was done well, causing Yi Hua to feel happy. However, because of some matters, the madams hid their sincerity. What your honor needs to do is to reveal the sincerity of the madams. Wei Cheng, that is exactly what I am thinking, just that I don't know what method to use. Yi Zizi suddenly said, if your honor is going to die, I reckon that the madams will definitely not be able to sit still. Wei Cheng nodded his head. That's right, on the basis of this hero saving the beauty, we should increase the difficulty by a bit. Lai Gu slapped onto his thigh once again. I understand. Your honor is going to be the hero saving the beauty, and after defeating the enemy with great difficulty, you ended up suffering from serious injuries. If you do that, the madams will definitely be touched to death. This time, Lai Gu finally guessed correctly. Yi Hua took out a cigarette and lit it up. Since we are going to act out a hero saving the beauty, then we have to make it a bit more realistic. We have to see blood with every move, and we have to have people die. We have to have a big scene, only then will it be shocking. Your honor, leave these things to subordinate. Subordinate will go and look for the actors to cooperate with us. Wei Cheng smiled. Lai Gu raised his hand and shouted out, I will be the bad guy. Wei Cheng, you will be the bad guy too. Your identity cannot be discovered by the madams. As for Yi Zizi, forget about it, it will be too easy for the madams to recognize you. Yi Hua had already decided, victory or defeat will be determined by this battle. Suddenly thinking of something, Yi Hua said, then, doesn't that mean that I have to chase them away? The three subordinates nodded their heads seriously. If I don't chase them away, how am I going to act out this show? Then, later on, I will think of a way to chase them away. Lai Gu, you take care of their safety and wait for my command. Subordinate obeys. Yi Hua waved his hand, all of you can leave now, let me think of a way to chase them away. After walking out of the toilet, Yi Hua sat on the bar counter and pondered. If I don't say some ruthless words to them, what should I do if they don't leave? If I say some ruthless words to them, what should I do if they become heartbroken? When that time comes, don't even talk about being a hero saving the beauty, what should I do? Just as Yi Hua was pondering, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi walked down from the bar, and their expressions were still that bad. In actuality, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were very nervous. After having a discussion just now, they had come up with a series of plans to break out of the prison. The first plan was to anger Yi Hua, and there were only two consequences, one was to let Yi Hua go, and the other was to get spanked. And when Yi Hua saw the two women walking over, if he were to flip out and chase them away, there would be too many situations that would happen. Also, what reason should he use to flip out? That is the problem. I am also a reasonable person, and I would never act recklessly. The two women winked their beautiful eyes at each other, indicating that the show had begun. The two women walked towards Yi Hua at the same time, and just as they were about to get close to Yi Hua, Donghuang Baizhi's body became unstable and fell into Yi Hua's embrace. Yi Hua! What is the meaning of this? You are hugging another woman in front of me. Qingye immediately scolded out. Her imposing manner caused Yi Hua to be stupefied. However, Donghuang Baizhi stood up angrily, Yi Hua. You actually touched my butt just now, you old hooligan. Alright, you even touched her butt, Yi Hua. I, Qingye, have misjudged you. Yi Hua was currently in a stupefied state. What are we doing? Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were also very puzzled. I have already scolded out like this, why aren't you reacting? It would be good if you show some expression, don't be so silly. Chapter 241. The atmosphere couldn't be so awkward. The two women hurriedly thought of a countermeasure. Yi Hua. Don't you have anything to explain? Qingye shouted coldly. Yi Hua felt that this was an opportunity that was delivered to his doorstep, and it just so happens that I can chase them away. What the hell are you two doing? Do you want to get beaten up? Yi Hua shouted out with a straight face. However, not knowing why, Yi Hua wanted to laugh, thus his expression was a bit distorted. But in the eyes of the two women, this situation was too good. Donghuang Baizhi shouted out in anger, you only know how to use domestic violence. I've had enough, I want to leave you. I've had enough too. I want to go out. You can't lock us up. Yi Hua was stupefied. This is too easy, isn't it? I, the Supreme Overlord, didn't even chase them away, and they want to leave by themselves? This is great. But he couldn't show it, much less let them see it. Impossible. Yi Hua shouted out. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi knew that this would happen, and they stared at Yi Hua with their beautiful eyes. And when Yi Hua saw that the two women were no longer resisting, he cried out in distress. Was my tone just now too heavy? If he had known this would happen, he would have let them leave just now. Now that they refused to leave, he had really shot himself in the foot. It seemed like it was time to test his acting skills. I, the Supreme Overlord, will let you see what is called acting skills. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi took a look at each other. Seems like we still have to rely on our acting skills. If the two of you dare to walk even a bit, I will beat your butts into mush. Yi Hua shouted out fiercely, and his acting was a bit exaggerated. But in the eyes of the two women, it wasn't exaggerated at all. It was just this kind of expression. If you have the guts, come and fight me. Donghuang Baizhi shouted out. Not to be outdone, Qingye said, if you don't spank my butt today, then you are a grandson. Fine, you force me to do this. Yi Hua waved his hand, and the two delicate beauties automatically flew over to Yi Hua. With their buttocks raised, the two beauties appeared in front of Yi Hua. This position was definitely a blessing, 100% blessing. Imagining two beauties with their buttocks sticking out in front of him, tsk, he could only imagine it himself. Yi Hua raised both of his hands and slapped towards Qingye. Yi Hua used a bit of strength, and Qingye's side was in a slightly better condition. Pa, Yi Hua. I can't stand you anymore, you are domestic abusing me, I want to leave. Qingye bawled loudly. Qingye's acting was pretty good. In actuality, she didn't feel any pain at all, it was more or less the same as caressing. Meanwhile, Donghuang Baizhi was truly feeling a bit of pain. Yi Hua, you bastard, it hurts so much. I want to leave you, tyrant. I want to leave too. Yi Hua was overjoyed. I was just waiting for you two to say this. After stopping the whipping, Yi Hua said gravely, are you all really going to leave me? This tone, this deep tone, it was simply the call of an infatuated man to his beloved wife. Seeing that the two women were not speaking anymore, Yi Hua wished that he could slap himself. Why did I have to be so flirtatious? What if I don't want to leave? Yes. We have to leave. Seeing how certain the two women were, Yi Hua felt at ease. Mommy, why did you leave Daddy? Donghuang Li suddenly ran over, pulled onto Donghuang Baizhi, and asked. Yi Hua hugged onto his daughter and said gravely, Li, Mommy doesn't want us anymore. Donghuang Baizhi really wanted to smack Yi Hua's butt. What the hell is this? This is completely slandering me. After I finish my matter, I still have to come back here, ouch. What's wrong with me? I still want to come back. Qingye, are you really going to leave me? Yi Hua's pair of deep black eyes looked at Qingye, and traces of tenderness could be seen within. Who said that the Supreme Overlord doesn't have any acting skills? The Oscars owe his honor a golden man. Qingye didn't dare to look straight at Yi Hua's gaze. I want to go out and calm down. Alright, since the two of you have already decided, I will let the two of you go. From today onwards, Ali and I will live together, all of you, scram. Yi Hua hugged onto his daughter, turned around, and then waved his hand. The seal on Donghuang Baizhi's body was removed, and the seal on Purity Bar was removed as well. Looking at Yi Hua who was hugging onto Donghuang Li who was crying, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi couldn't bear to watch anymore. However, thinking about how bad Yi Hua was, Qingye clenched her teeth and walked out of the bar. Donghuang Baizhi wrinkled her brows. Ali can be at ease with Yi Hua, I will explain everything to Ali when I come back. After the two women walked out of the bar, Donghuang Baizhi asked, Qingye, have you made your decision? And, since I don't have anywhere else to go, I will just go to your place first. Qingye said powerlessly. After walking out of the bar, she couldn't bear to part with Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji nodded her head. She felt that something was amiss. Qingye, don't you feel that Yihua is acting very strange today? Yesterday, he wanted to lock us up for our entire lives, and yet today, he is letting us go so easily. As expected of the Empress, she immediately realized what was going on. If Yihua's performance just now wasn't on point, she would definitely be even more suspicious of him. Perhaps, he really gave up. In actuality, Qingye felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Yihua really doesn't want me anymore. Donghuang Baiji let out a deep sigh. She didn't know if what Yihua did was right or wrong. Yihua stood in the office and looked at the two women, then said, "Hurry up and leave, don't dawdle anymore." "Daddy, how can you let mommy go?" Yihua smiled and explained to his daughter. He didn't want Ali to really think that mommy doesn't want her anymore. After hearing her father's explanation, Dong Huangli immediately understood, Daddy is still the formidable one. Mommy and Aunt Qing were both deceived. "Shoo, Daddy, this isn't lying, this is love, Ali understands." Dong Huangli had a look of, I am an experienced person, causing Yihua to laugh out loud. When Yihua looked downstairs and saw that the two women were already nowhere to be seen, Yihua felt relieved. "Lai Gu. Are you keeping up?" "Your Honor, this Madame Donghuang is a bit formidable." Lai Gu followed Donghuang Baiji to Voidless Realm, and upon seeing the scene in front of him, Lai Gu was shocked. "What do you mean?" Lai Gu let out a sigh. "I also don't know what to say. I saw that those people were all kneeling down to welcome Madame Donghuang. So awesome." Yihua was also very astonished. Soon after, Yihua said, "Lend me your eyes and let me take a look." With the help of Lai Gu's eyes, Yihua was able to see the scene. As expected of my woman, this Empress style is indeed very strong. It is causing my desire to conquer her to become stronger and stronger. Lai Gu, continue to protect the two of them and wait for my orders. Yes. Right now, Qingye was also very stupefied. With a "Baiu" sound, I felt as if I had arrived at another world, and everyone in this world was kneeling down to welcome Donghuang Baiji. And she was actually the Empress of this place. My God! Not only is she a cultivator, she is also an Empress. Qingye immediately lost her confidence. Compared to Donghuang Baiji, I am only rich, I am too useless. The 8 elders hurriedly rushed over and said gravely, "Welcome, Your Majesty. You may rise." "Your Majesty, Ying family is going to attack us 3 days later. Your Majesty, please lead us and fight against the enemy." Yuanda shouted out gravely. Soon after, everyone in Voidless Realm started shouting out, causing Qingye's blood to boil. Donghuang Baiji's beautiful eyes became serious. Since they dare to come, then let's make sure that they will not be able to return. Our Majesty is mighty. Our Majesty is mighty. Our Majesty is mighty. What they didn't know was that their Empress was being molested by Yihua last night. Chapter 242. Donghuang Baiji was a bit embarrassed. Right now, the battle was about to start. Donghuang Baiji said, "Qingye, do you want to go back or continue staying here? If you stay, I will ensure your safety." "Stay here." Qingye said faintly. "If I were to go back now, wouldn't I be completely suppressed by Yihua? In the future, I would definitely be bullied by Yihua. However, from what Yihua said, it seems like he doesn't plan to look for me anymore. I might as well learn from Donghuang Baiji and give birth to the child myself. And, how about you stay in Ali's courtyard? That place is quieter and safer." Donghuang Baiji was still very concerned about Qingye. "Both of us are women who have a hard life, why should I make things difficult for Qingye?" After making arrangements for Qingye, Donghuang Baiji began discussing with her 8 subordinates about the battle strategy to make sure that Ying family won't be able to return alive. Yihua was currently in a good mood, and he was currently in the 4th row. "Daddy, Ali's 98K is for you. Papa, I'll give you Ali's high magnification scope. Papa, Ali's level 3 armor is for you. Daddy, I'll give you Ali's level 3 helmet as well. Being taken care of by his daughter, Yihua felt very touched. Not only was he taken care of by his daughter, but he was also carried by his daughter to win PUBG. This was a little hurtful. He had to teach his daughter not to cheat in games. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi sat at the side and lightly smiled, not saying a word. Of course, Dong Huangli wouldn't allow the child to play games all day and night. It would be fine as long as it was appropriate. In the afternoon, Dong Huangli began to practice her cultivation technique, while Yihua was thinking about how to be a hero and save the beauty. For example, what lines to say and so on. All of those lines have to be shocking and moving, and I have to move the beauty to death. I won't be able to leave them even for a second. Before he knew it, he had arrived at the storage room. When he saw the few boxes of mahogany, he immediately contacted Wei Chang. How did Death Mage send these things over? Replying to your honor, subordinate doesn't know either. Let subordinate ask around first. Hurry up. After Wei Chang finished asking, Wei Chang immediately replied, Your honor, these are the betrothal gifts that Death Mage snatched from a power called Voidless Realm. Yihua laughed lightly. So, she is the Empress of Voidless Realm. However, I seem to have heard of this Voidless Realm somewhere before. It sounds so familiar. Yihua and Wei Chang seem to have thought of the same direction. Your honor. I heard from Death Mage that the negotiations seem to have broken down, and the battle will start 3 days later. Yihua's expression froze. My subordinate's power went to beat up my wife's power, isn't this too much of a coincidence? Your honor, this is a great opportunity. Yihua wrinkled his brows, what do you mean? From the start, subordinate had planned to letting family be the extras. But now, there is no need for us to arrange any plot at all. When the time comes, his honor can just appear and save the damsel in distress. Yihua thought for a bit. This idea of Wei Chang's is feasible, and it will save me quite a bit of trouble. Furthermore, it has also fulfilled my requirements of having a big scene. All right. 3 days later, we will take down Voidless Realm in one go. Yes, Your Holiness. After ending the call, Yihua carefully thought about it. This is simply killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I can even take over Dong Huang Baiji's power. Death Mage, you have done well in snatching, you have given me my wife and daughter, I will be greatly rewarded. Next, Yihua could only calmly wait for the hero to save the beauty 3 days later. I cannot be careless with this matter. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi would definitely not be able to participate in the performance this time around, the 2 of them would only cause trouble, and when the time comes, it would be awkward for them to be exposed. And this time, one side was Ying family, and the other side was Voidless Realm. Ying family attacked, Voidless Realm defended. The bad guys would be Wei Chang and Lai Gu. Death Mage and Sun Fang cannot appear, after all, both of them had been exposed before. Yihua was rather cautious. Meanwhile, Wei Chang and Lai Gu had to change their identities and go. Of course, I have to inform Ying family about this matter. If I were to appear and make everyone kneel down, what is there to save? Of course, I have to fight for real. With Wei Chang and Lai Gu suppressing Voidless Realm, it is certain that Voidless Realm will lose. In the end, when I appear in front of the 2 women while riding on a 5-colored auspicious cloud, I don't believe that the 2 women won't be moved. This plan can only succeed, it cannot fail. This plan concerns the harmony of the entire family. This kind of noise is making me tired. Ying family. Wei Chang had already told Death Mage and Sun Fang about the plan, and also expressed his honor's attitude towards this matter. If the plan were to be messed up, the consequences would be very serious. After Death Mage and Sun Fang found out about the plan, they first went silent for a moment, then went to look for Ying family's patriarch. Right now, it was already the middle of the night, and most of the people had already fallen asleep. Sun Fang walked in front of Death Mage. After all, from the identity that Yi Hua gave to Sun Fang's status in Ying family was higher than Death Mage, and Death Mage was at most just an assistant. Lord Sun. The imperial guards who were standing at the entrance were startled and hurriedly kneeled down. Sun Fang's expression sunk. This is a big matter. If something were to happen, I will have to take responsibility. The main point is that I did not participate in such a big matter. How am I supposed to control the situation? My head hurts. Sun Fang waved her hand and directly walked into Ying Jingshan's bedroom. The maids who were waiting outside hurriedly kneeled down and cried out, Lord Sun. Ask your family patriarch to come out for a moment. Sun Fang sat on a small stone bench outside of the bedroom, and Death Mage stood behind her. That vigilant gaze of his seemed to be saying, whoever dares to be disrespectful to my ugly woman, I will kill them all. The maids looked at each other. Even the family patriarch is resting. Hurry up, don't make me wait too long. After interacting with Death Mage, Sun Fang unknowingly became a bit vicious, and she was no longer as gentle as before. Without waiting for the maids to leave, Ying Jingshan, who was wearing his pajamas, opened the door and walked out. All of you can leave first. The maids had a nervous look on their faces as they bowed and left. Lord Sun, why are you looking for subordinates so late at night? Ying Jingshan arrived in front of Sun Fang and cupped his hands. Sun Fang looked at Ying Jingshan, and the latter hurriedly lowered his head. Lord Sun is very strange today, her complexion is so bad. His honor has ordered that he will send 2 people to assist you all in attacking Voidless Realm. Ying Jingshan was overjoyed and immediately kneeled down and shouted out, His honor is a wise person, he loves us so much. Sun Fang said faintly, the 2 people that his honor sent out are only to assist you all, and they will only take action when you all are in danger. As for the rest, you all still have to rely on yourselves. Even if that was the case, Ying Jingshan was still overjoyed. It's fine, this is Ying family's matter to begin with. For his honor to be willing to help us, we are already extremely honored. Ying Jingshan's attitude made Sun Fang feel satisfied. From the looks of it, his honor is able to accomplish his goal with this move of his. His honor is indeed extremely intelligent. Yi Hua, I am only going to let them be extras, that's all. Ying Jingshan stood up and said with a slight smile, Is it Lord Sun and Death Mage? Sun Fang shook her head. Ying Jingshan finally understood why the 2 of them had such a gloomy look on their faces. It turns out that his honor didn't send the 2 of them to attack Voidless Realm. Sun Fang stood up and warned one last time, if his honor appears, do not pay attention to him, and do not bow to him. Just act as if you don't know him, and do what you are supposed to do. Remember this point, because this matter concerns our lives. After hearing what Sun Fang said, Ying Jingshan's heart sunk. He didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. Lord Sun, please be at ease, I will make the arrangements. Chapter 243. Ying Jingshan, who was standing in the courtyard, had his brows tightly wrinkled. His honor is going to appear on that day as well. Why did he appear? Could it be that he is planning to subdue Voidless Realm? The possibility of that happening was extremely high. Ying Jingshan immediately called for a clan meeting to discuss countermeasures. At that time, when his honor really appears, everything will proceed according to the plan. All of Ying family's people must keep their mouths shut, lest they ruin his honor's plans and lead to the destruction of Ying family. Everyone was guessing what the purpose of his honor's operation this time around was. If his honor wants to exterminate Voidless Realm, just a single Death Mage would be more or less enough. Yet, his honor actually sent out 2 Death Mages, and furthermore, his honor is even going to send out Death Mage himself. It seemed like he didn't want to destroy it, but to subdue it. Everyone in Ying family seemed to be a bit happy. Finally, not only am I enslaved, I am also accompanied by Voidless Realm, and I am no longer lonely. Next would be the Ji family. They could either submit or be exterminated, which was actually a very good choice. If they were destroyed, that would be the best. Then, the South would be the only winner. Within Voidless Realm, right now, everyone was busy preparing to receive Ying family's attack. Dong Huang Baiji personally made arrangements for Voidless Realm's soldiers and officers, and after consoling them, Voidless Realm's morale was ignited. Everyone became excited. After all, this was Voidless Realm's first battle in several hundred years. Qingya stayed in Ali's courtyard, and she was sitting in the pavilion in the courtyard with a gloomy expression while looking at the stars in the sky. It had only been less than a day, and Qingya was already starting to miss Yihua. Actually, from Yihua's point of view, it seemed that he wasn't wrong. Could it be that I was too willful? Qingya was a bit hesitant. What if Yihua really doesn't come to look for me? Sigh, seems like I have really been captured by Yihua. Qingya, why aren't you resting yet? Dong Huang Baiji suddenly appeared in the courtyard. Dong Huang Baiji had just finished her inspection and came over to check on Qingya's situation. Qingya forced out a smile. I was just about to go, are you alright? Dong Huang Baiji sat opposite to Qingya, and the maid immediately came over to pour tea for her. Not really, Ying family is going to attack the Voidless Realm the day after tomorrow, and at that time, rivers of blood will definitely flow. Dong Huang Baiji let out a deep sigh. I wonder how many people from Voidless Realm will be left after the Voidless Realm battle starts. Embarrassed, Qingya said, I am truly ashamed that I wasn't able to help you. Qingya, don't say it like that. This has nothing to do with you in the first place. Dong Huang Baiji laughed lightly. She felt that Qingya's personality was rather good, and they could be considered to be able to get along well with each other. If you need money, I still have some here. Yihua won quite a lot of money. I don't want his money. Dong Huang Baiji snorted coldly. Qingya laughed. In actuality, Yihua is quite formidable. If he were to come over, you would be able to relax a lot. I'm not going to go and beg him. This is a battle between Voidless Realm, what's the point of having him come here? Dong Huang Baiji naturally knew how formidable Yihua was. For him to be able to seal me, Yihua's strength was definitely above mine. If Yihua were to come and help me, he would definitely be a good helper. However, the prideful Dong Huang Baiji would definitely not go and beg Yihua. Baiji, to be honest, you still like Yihua, right? As they chatted, the two women began to talk about men. You too, right? Both women had tacitly agreed. Everything was understood without words. However, to Yihua, this kind of situation was even better. Right now, he only needed to light up the fire in their hearts. Qingya, you should rest early, I will bring you around tomorrow. Alright, you should rest early too. Although the two women liked the same man, they seemed to be very courteous towards each other, and they could barely be considered as friends. However, if Yihua wanted to make the two women be like Lai Gu and the other women, he still had to work hard. After all, the two of them were not ordinary women. If Yihua wanted to have a woman on his left and a woman on his right, a big show might not be able to satisfy him, but it would definitely be able to make their relationship become better. 3 days passed by very quickly, and the entire Voidless Realm was in a state of nervousness. Over 10,000 fully armed warriors were gathered at the entrance of the barrier, and there were even 1,000 cavalries in the sky. The mounts were golden crow wings, spiritual beasts raised by Voidless Realm, and their battle prowess was extraordinary. Those hard feathers were just like black iron blades, and they were able to kill without leaving a trace. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji was standing in the sky. Dong Huang Baiji was wearing a dragon-patterned purple gown, and her pair of beautiful eyes were filled with coldness and arrogance. Behind her were 8 elders, and all of them were holding on to various types of ancient godly items. Dong Huang Baiji, who was standing in the sky, was emitting out an astonishing spiritual pressure. She looked down at all of the officers and soldiers and shouted out. Officers and soldiers, the war is coming, every inch of land is an inch of blood. For Voidless Realm. Die a worthy death. Tens of thousands of officers and soldiers knelt down on one knee and shouted out in unison, for the Empress. For Voidless Realm. The resounding sound resonated throughout the entire voidless realm, and even Qingye, who was standing in the courtyard, heard it. Qingye thought to herself, if I have the ability, I would be able to help as well. Unfortunately, I am just a flower vase that is being protected by everyone. Donghuang Baiji, who was in the sky, slowly closed her beautiful eyes. When she opened her eyes again, her pair of eyes had become golden, and a drop of blood slowly rose into the sky. The blood of East Emperor, I pray for the descent of an ancient godly beast. In an instant, the entire sky looked as if it was on fire, and a terrifying might seemed to be slowly descending. A huge figure spiraled above the red clouds, and the rumbling sounds coming from the red clouds could be heard, causing people to feel fear. Roar! A huge beast swooped down. The wings on its body were golden in color, and its head was shaped like an eagle. The only difference was that it had 3 sharp claws, and its pair of eyes carried an aura of contempt. This beast's name was Three-Legged Crow, and it was an ancient godly beast. At the same time, it was also one of Voidless Realm's trump cards. It was similar to the one summoned by Sun Yi, the difference was that one was a child, and the other was an adult. Furthermore, this three-legged crow was actually similar to Ing family's heavy dust, one was a godly beast, while the other was a ferocious beast. When everyone saw the descent of the godly beast, their confidence increased greatly, and they immediately began cheering. Long live the Empress! Long live the Empress! The three-legged crow landed beside Donghuang Baiji, then shook its feathers, and a golden halo spread out. All of the generals and soldiers felt that they had an inexhaustible amount of energy, and they wished that they could directly slaughter their way out. This was the benefit of being a godly beast, having a halo effect. However, ferocious beasts did not have such a passive effect. The battle was about to begin. Outside of the Void Realm, on a land of yellow sand. Suddenly, a white light flashed, and 8,000+ people appeared. There was also a huge beast. It was precisely the ancient beast, Heavy Dust. That red nail polish was very eye-catching, but Heavy Dust did not feel that it was ugly at all. On the contrary, it felt that it was glorious, and sometimes, it would even flaunt its beautiful nail polish. Family head, His Honor's people have yet to appear, what should we do? Right now, Ing Shang family was also fully armed, and with an ancient godly item in his hand, the battle today will definitely be a bloodbath. The silver armor that Ing Jingshan was wearing was very eye-catching, and the might that was being emitted from it was very shocking. This silver armor that Ing Jingshan was wearing was also an ancient godly item. A big shot is a big shot, and an ancient godly item is just like an appetizer. Ing Kangshi said faintly, wait. Chapter 244. In the bar. While Yihua was drinking wine, Wei Chang and Lai Gu were standing behind him, waiting for the latest instructions. You guys go first. Remember to act real. However, don't hurt Baiji either. Yihua lit up a stick of cigarette and said faintly. Yes. Yes. Wei Chang appeared to be calm, while Lai Gu appeared to be very excited. Voidless Realm. The 8,000-strong army quietly waited. This caused Donghuang Baiji, who was within the army, to tightly wrinkle her brows. Your Majesty, this is not good. Xing Han stepped forward and said. Donghuang Baiji naturally knew about this, they are waiting for someone. Looking at Heavy Dust, who was outside, Voidless Realm's people shook their heads. How does this look like a ferocious beast? Heavy Dust is actually scratching an itch like a dog, and furthermore, Heavy Dust is even wearing that beautiful nail polish, and is even showing off there. Voidless Realm's barrier allowed one to see the outside world from the inside, while the outside world would not be able to sense the outside world. A black vortex suddenly appeared in front of the Ing family's army. All of the Ing family's soldiers were on high alert, while Ing Jingshan waved his hand. A black shadow walked out of the vortex. It was Wei Chang, who had come to play the role of the bad guy. Ing Jingshan was overjoyed. As expected, the person that His Honor sent over is truly formidable. Although his honor isn't emitting any pressure from his body, it is precisely this calmness that makes people revere him. The people in Voidless Realm also saw Wei Chang, and towards the shadowy figure, everyone was very puzzled. However, Dong Huang Baiji's gaze became even more grave. Ying family has invited a helper over. Shameless. Something even more shameless came. Roar. Dragon roars resounded through the sky as a terrifying spiritual pressure swept across the land. Even heavy dust was trembling in fear. The black dot in the sky grew larger and larger. A huge bone dragon descended from the sky, stirring up a terrifying sandstorm. It was precisely Lai Gu who obtained his honor's permission to reveal his true body and act as the bad guy. The Ying family was dumbfounded. The people from Voidless Realm were dumbfounded. Although Lai Gu's true body was smaller than heavy dust, it was small yet powerful, small yet durable. At this moment, Ying Jingshan was stupefied. This bone dragon was truly powerful. He felt even more powerful than the giant water devil god. Dong Huang Baiji's expression was gloomy. This skeletal dragon is too strong. Where did it come from? And that shadowy figure, it seemed like they were together. Of course, Wei Chang wouldn't stand on Lai Gu, because Lai Gu was his honor's mount. Other than his honor having ridden on Lai Gu before, only Yi Zizi had ridden on Lai Gu once. Don't worry, Your Majesty. This barrier was set up in the ancient times. If they want to break in, they will definitely suffer heavy losses. Yuanda said. How could Dong Huang Baiji not know how powerful this barrier was? However, her sixth sense as a woman told her that this barrier would not be able to stop them. Ying Jingshan, who was outside, naturally knew how powerful Voidless Realm's barrier was. Lord, can you help me open this barrier? Ying Jingshan shouted in a deep voice. Wei Chang looked at the barrier not far away. What's wrong? You can't even open such a barrier. Lord, this barrier can be opened, but we will lose a lot of people. Ying Jingshan hurriedly explained. Wei Chang thought for a bit. If I were to kill half of the people outside of the barrier, Voidless Realm's advantage would be very big. After all, I and Lai Gu aren't here to kill the madam's subordinates, they are here to put on a show. Thinking of this, Wei Chang made a decision and flicked his finger. A black mist that looked like a black needle came into contact with the barrier, but the black mist did not pierce through the barrier. Instead, like a kind of strange life form, the black mist gradually covered the barrier and spread out. In a blink of an eye, the black mist attached itself onto the barrier like a spider web, and the barrier emitted out a strong spiritual might, seemingly wanting to struggle free from the disgusting black mist. However, it was useless. The black mist was like a domineering man and gradually wrapped around the woman in his embrace. Bang! A piece of the barrier shattered, and soon after, more and more people from Voidless Realm appeared in front of Ying Jingshan's eyes. Everyone had astonished expressions on their faces, especially Dong Huang Baiji who was in the sky, her small mouth was slightly opened. Ying Jingshan was the first to react. He pulled out his ancient godly item, pointed his sword towards Voidless Realm, and said with killing intent, Kill! Kill! 8,000 Ying family's soldiers rushed into Voidless Realm. Heavy dust roared towards the sky and directly crashed into a floating mountain, shattering it into pieces. The three-legged black beast beside Dong Huang Baiji let out a roar, and Heavy Dust's gaze became serious. Monstrous fury was ignited at this moment. The godly beast and the ferocious beast had always disliked each other, and thus, both sides immediately started fighting against each other. In just an instant, over 100 people had already fallen onto the ground, and the death toll was still rising. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out and rushed straight towards Ying family's family head, Ying Jingshan. Meanwhile, the 8 elders were fighting against Ying family's clansmen. A life and death battle started. Wei Chang and Lai Gu walked into Voidless Realm unhurriedly, and after entering the barrier, they restored it back to its original state. The two stood in the sky and watched the battle quietly, ensuring that Voidless Realm's side was in a disadvantageous position. If not, How was his honor going to save the damsel in distress? Although Dong Huang Baiji was fighting against Ying Jingshan, her gaze would occasionally fall onto Wei Chang and Lai Gu. Originally, Dong Huang Baiji thought that they would start a massacre, but they didn't. They seemed to be watching the show from the side, and from time to time, they would kill a few people for fun. This made Dong Huang Baiji very angry, but at the same time, she was also very helpless. If they were to make a move, Voidless Realm would probably be destroyed in an instant. However, they didn't help Ying family too much, and it seems like they are waiting for someone. It must be said that Dong Huang Baiji's feelings were too scary. If she were to find out about this, I reckon that she would not be able to get along with Yi Hua for the rest of her life. The tragic situation was escalating on both sides. Blood had already formed a river on the ground, and countless people were lying on the ground. More than half of Ying family's members had already fallen, and out of the 8 elders from Voidless Realm, only 3 remained. The battle between Heavy Dust and the 3-legged Golden Crow was also very shocking. Both of them had wounds left behind by the other party, and blood was flowing non-stop. The battle was too tragic. However, right now, Dong Huang Baiji was gradually suppressing Ying Jingshan. As expected of the North's gang leader. Right now, Ying Jingshan had a lot of wounds on him. Although the wounds weren't fatal, they weren't feeling good either. And on the other hand, Dong Huang Baiji's attacks were getting more and more ferocious. Lai Gu, this family head is still useful, don't let the madam kill him. Furthermore, it is about time for the main show to begin. Right now, Wei Chang was the representative of intelligence, and Lai Gu naturally had to listen to him. He didn't want his honor to be troubled by the family matters anymore. Lai Gu shook his dragon tail, and immediately became startled. Why did I shake my dragon tail? I should have roared out. Roar! A dragon roar suddenly rang out, and Lai Gu charged towards Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji, who was just about to take Ying Jingshan's life, immediately retracted her hand, then quickly dodged to the side. Lai Gu thought to himself, Madam sure is formidable. However, his honor had said to let you suffer a bit. Who asked Madam to be disobedient? In that case, don't blame subordinate, it is all his honor's idea. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. The dragon tail, which brought along a gale, attacked towards Dong Huang Baiji. The latter's expression changed, immediately placing the ancient godly item in front of her body, she quickly formed hand seals. However, this was Lai Gu's attack. No matter how formidable an ancient godly item was, it would not be able to block this attack. Dong Huang Baiji's body flew back like a cannonball and crashed onto a mountain. F***ck, Lai Gu, do you want to get roasted by his honor? To attack so heavily. Wei Chang was greatly startled, and he wished that he could break Lai Gu. Lai Gu also panicked. I really didn't do it on purpose, I just casually swung my dragon tail. Chapter 245. Ying Jingshan, who was saved by Lai Gu, carried an incomparably grateful heart as he kowtowed and thanked Lai Gu. However, Lai Gu didn't have the mood to thank Lai Gu. Lai Gu wished that he could slap this trash to death, causing him to slap his wife away. Dong Huang Baiji's body could be seen sinking deep into the mountain, and blood could be seen flowing out from the corner of her mouth. However, she did not give up, ferociously attacking towards Lai Gu. Lai Gu, if you injure Madame Dong Huang again, his honor will cut you into pieces. Wei Chang warned. Lai Gu is also in a very difficult situation. If I were to intentionally go easy on Madame Shui, the madam would definitely be able to tell, and if I don't go easy on Madame Shui, the madam would be injured. It is really hard to be a subordinate. Voidless Realm was gradually being suppressed by Ying family. Dong Huang Baiji was currently fighting against Lai Gu, and all kinds of small injuries appeared on Dong Huang Baiji's body. All of them were lacerations. This caused Dong Huang Baiji to be very puzzled. He was obviously able to kill me, yet he only gave me a small injury. Just what is the meaning of this? Wei Chang panicked a little. From the expression on Madame Donghuang's face, he could tell that she was starting to suspect something. It couldn't go on like this. Lai Gu, injure the madam and make the madam lose the ability to fight. Oh, knock! Lai Gu could be seen opening his huge mouth and letting out a dragon roar. Donghuang Baiji, who was very close to him, had a huge change in expression, and the spiritual energy within her body became extremely chaotic, causing her to spurt out a mouthful of blood. Looking at the corpses on the ground, as well as the soldiers who were gradually retreating, Donghuang Baiji's heart sunk to the bottom. Lai Gu was a bit flustered, and he shouted out in his heart. Madam, quickly run, what are you blanking out for? I vow to protect Voidless Realm with my life. Donghuang Baiji shouted out, then actually attacked towards Lai Gu again. When the soldiers saw the Empress disregard her own life and continue to fight against the evil bone dragon, a surge of strength surged in their hearts, and the blades in their hands became even more ferocious. Lai Gu was about to collapse. What should I do? The script has gone astray. Wei Chang was also anxious. Madame Donghuang was really a woman who was not inferior to a man. No wonder his honor likes her so much, only a woman like her is worthy to be his honor's wife. But right now, the problem is, the madam is not afraid of death anymore. Gluttonous monster, hurry up and think of something. If I continue to hide, madam will become suspicious. Lai Gu didn't dare to touch Donghuang Baiji anymore. If he were to touch Donghuang Baiji again, madam might not be able to bear it. Wei Chang bellowed, what's wrong with you? Why does madam still have the strength to fight? I'm afraid that I will make madam faint from my loud roar. It will be very hard to control. Lai Gu was very depressed. This situation was just like when Death Mage fought against Xiao Yi. He could have instantly killed Xiao Yi, but the order he received was to injure Xiao Yi. It was just that he was too strong, so strong that any one of his moves could instantly kill him. It was too difficult to injure him. Lai Gu was in such a situation. Fortunately, even if he were to be reckless, he would not die like Death Mage. Haven't you finished yet? I have already waited for half a day. Yi Hua's voice rang out in the ears of the two. Wei Chang said hurriedly, Your Honor, give subordinate a bit more time, I will be done immediately, madam's battle prowess is a bit high. Be careful, don't hurt this sovereign's woman. I'm already injured. Lai Gu wanted to cry but had no tears. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have accepted this job. I originally wanted to come here to act cool, but in the end, forget it, Lai Gu, be a bit more careful, don't hurt the madam. Wei Chang warned gravely. Lai Gu had no other choice but to stretch out his dragon claw and accurately poke onto Donghuang Baiji's ancient godly item. Bang! The ancient godly item immediately broke apart, and a huge amount of energy burst out from the broken ancient godly item, sending Donghuang Baiji flying away. Lai Gu was stupefied, Wei Chang was stupefied. After a long while, Wei Chang said coldly, Lai Gu, if you continue like this, you will really be stewed by his honor. I didn't do it on purpose. Lai Gu wanted to cry. The quality of this ancient godly item is truly not good enough, it broke with just a poke. Donghuang Baiji landed outside the palace. When the soldiers saw that their empress was sent flying, they immediately rushed over to protect her. There were only 3 elders left, Yuan De, Xing Han, and He Xian. Your Majesty. Yuan De hurriedly checked on Donghuang Baiji's injuries. Fortunately, her life is not in danger. Ying family surrounded Donghuang Baiji and the others in a defensive formation. If it wasn't for Wei Chang and Lai Gu's help, Ying family would indeed not be able to come out alive today. On the other hand, Donghuang Baiji had the ability to kill Ying Jingshan. Without the Ying family head, Ying family's morale would definitely plummet. Unfortunately, this is only if the morale of everyone in Ying family soared. Ying Jingshan even shouted, Empress. If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have acted in the first place. Pa! For your Ying family to actually ask for help, aren't you afraid of becoming a laughing stock if word of this spreads out? Dong Huang Baiji slowly stood up and shouted out coldly towards Ing Jingshan. The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Your Majesty should understand this, right? Alright, Ing Jingshan is starting to put on an act. Now that the fight has reached this point, his honor should also appear and subdue Voidless Realm. Just that, what method is his honor going to use to subdue Voidless Realm? This empress is very arrogant. Dong Huang Baiji snorted, my Voidless Realm never surrenders. As expected of a heroine, I, Ing Jingshan, admire you. Looking at her subordinates that were drenched in blood, Dong Huang Baiji let out a sigh of relief. I didn't expect that Voidless Realm would actually be destroyed in my hands. From the looks of it, I am going to die here today. Ah Li. In the future, you have to listen to Daddy, Mommy cannot accompany you anymore. Thinking about her daughter, Dong Huang Baiji revealed a tender look on her face. Although Dong Huang Baiji had been taught a lesson by Yi Hua for the past few days, Dong Huang Baiji had truly accompanied her daughter. Recalling Yi Hua's face in his mind, Yi Hua thought to himself, Yi Hua, take good care of our daughter, don't let her feel wronged. If there is a next life, you must come downstairs and meet me, then we will be able to live happily together. Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji was startled. Seeing Qingya running over, Dong Huang Baiji shouted out loudly, Qingya, what are you running out for? Go back quickly. Baiji, what happened to you? Qingya hurriedly held on to the weak Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji shook her head, Qingya, I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, I got you involved in this as well. We can go call Yi Hua over. Qingya said hurriedly. At this kind of moment of crisis, there was only one person that appeared in her mind, and that person was Yi Hua. Dong Huang Baiji laughed bitterly, it's too late. Qingya, take good care of Yi Hua in the future. You. What are you planning to do? If we can't beat them, we can run. Dong Huang Baiji shook her head, if I run away, what are they going to do? Qingya, I will get someone to bring you away from here. In the future, Ali will have to depend on you. What nonsense are you saying? Ali needs your care, and Yi Hua definitely doesn't want to lose you as well. Dong Huang Baiji smiled sweetly, he doesn't want to lose you even more, hurry up and leave. If he were to find out that I abandoned you and left, wouldn't he whip me to death? Let's leave together. A mouthful of blood flowed out from Dong Huang Baiji's mouth once again, and the blood flowed onto Qingya's clothes. Your Majesty, you retreat first, we will hold up the rear. Yuanda and the others shouted out while standing in front of Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji fell into Qingya's embrace and mumbled, if Yi Hua comes, I will forgive him for being so heartless. And, we will forgive him together. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were overjoyed, and they hurriedly informed his honor. Yi Hua was currently holding onto his daughter and waiting anxiously, and suddenly, a message came over. Ali, stay at home properly, Daddy will go and bring Aunt Qing and Mommy back. Yi Hua said with a smile. Dong Huangli clenched her small fist, Daddy, you can do it, everyone in Voidless Realm was in despair. Facing against a powerful enemy, even the Empress didn't have any combat strength left. The ancient divine beast had also fallen to the side, and the ancient ferocious beast was the same as well. The entire Voidless Realm felt as if it had been bombarded by a cannon. Suddenly, the sky changed, and rumbling sounds could be heard. A rainbow-colored auspicious cloud floated over from afar, and there was a shadow on top of the rainbow-colored auspicious cloud. That's right, the shadow is Yi Hua. Just now, Yi Hua wore a set of handsome armor at home, and he even had his hair sliced back. Furthermore, he seems to have put on a bit too much hair wax, but that doesn't matter, as long as he is handsome enough, it is fine. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji stared blankly at the rainbow-colored auspicious cloud that was flying over, and the shadow on top of the rainbow-colored auspicious cloud. Tears of joy flowed out from the corners of their eyes. At the moment of life and death, Yi Hua didn't abandon us this time. He came, he really came. Yihua lightly leaped onto the ground and landed in front of the two women with a calm look on his face. Looking at the back view in front of them, the two women were moved to tears. Meanwhile, Yihua silently took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then pointed it towards Wei Chang and the others and said faintly, "You cannot afford to offend my women." Chapter 246. Yihua's appearance made everyone stupefied. Especially at Voidless Realm's side. Looking at this majestic-looking man, then looking at the weak empress who had tears on her face, they seemed to have thought of something. Adding on this man's opening line, it was confirmed. Meanwhile, Jingshan completely did not understand his honor's intentions. His honor wants to protect the empress, yet he wants me to attack the empress, and the main point is that he wants me to keep it a secret. From the looks of it, his honor is also a romantic person. Firstly, he can win over the beauty's heart, and secondly, he can subdue the entire Voidless Realm. Why not? Admirable. Right now, Yihua did not turn his head around. In actuality, he really wanted to turn his head around and look at their expressions, but in order to create a better atmosphere, he cannot turn his head around. The show had just started. Wei Chang, what are their expressions? Yihua asked curiously. Your Honor, the madams are all crying. Lai Gu was also extremely happy. Your Honor, the madams are truly moved. That's good, but what I want is not just to be moved, I want them to be dead set on me and not be able to leave me for even a second. Continue with the show. Yes. Yes. Who are you? Without waiting for Wei Chang to say his lines, Jingshan snatched Wei Chang's lines. From this, it could be seen that his acting skills are not bad. Yihua had a new view of this Jingshan. His brain works very fast. You bunch of salted fishes think that you are worthy of knowing my name, fools. Yihua said coldly. Yihua had a look of, I am number one under the heavens, especially when he was smoking. Qingye who was at the back laughed lightly, then said to Donghuang Baiji, his acting cool after smoking syndrome is acting up again. But I like the current him. Donghuang Baiji muttered. This back view suddenly became so tall and big, and that shattered heart of hers slowly started to heal. Qingye looked at Yihua's back view and said with a smile, I like him too. Hearing the words of the two women at the back, Yihua became very excited. He wished that he could turn around and teach them a lesson right now. Who asked you to run away? Now you know the importance of me. Jingshan frowned slightly. This frown of his was just right, vividly displayed that expression of, dare yet not dare. Your distinguished's courage is truly admirable. It is hard to find a person who is as passionate as your distinguished. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were both stupefied. This Jingshan is so eloquent. Even when he was glaring at me, he didn't forget to flatter me. Meanwhile, everyone from Ing family seemed to have discussed this beforehand, and they were praising Yihua endlessly. Some of the words spoken by some people even caused goosebumps to appear on everyone's body. Right now, Yihua seemed to have been described by Ing family as a god who had descended to the mortal world, a man who was able to hold the pass against 10,000 enemies by himself. Furthermore, for the sake of his true love, Yihua was even willing to disregard his own life. When such discussions fell into the ears of the two women, their pair of beautiful eyes became even more tender. If it wasn't for the fact that there were too many people at the scene, the two women would have already pounced into Yihua's embrace and started talking about how much they missed each other. Wei Chang, what's the situation with the two of them? Yihua secretly asked. Your Honor, it's done. Wei Chang said excitedly. Yihua calmed down, all right then, let's add more fuel to the fire. Looking at Jingshan, Yihua said slowly, I didn't expect that my intentions and character would actually be seen through by you. If you want to bully them today, you'll have to ask me first. Yihua. They are very powerful, especially those two. Donghuang Baiji said concernedly. Yi Hua didn't turn his head around and said faintly, "When men speak, you women just have to obediently watch. You are indeed domineering. You are the most domineering person I have ever seen." As he spoke, he even cupped his hands. His acting skills were off the charts. The members of the Ying family all expressed that they had never seen such a domineering man, and they all expressed their respect for him. Dong Huang Baiji naturally heard what Yi Hua said as well. Dong Huang Baiji felt that the moment Yi Hua arrived, the entire scene became different. Even the enemies were praising Yi Hua non-stop. Dong Huang Baiji felt that as long as Yi Hua waved his hand, all of the winners would listen to his orders. One couldn't help but say that Dong Huang Baiji's sixth sense was extremely terrifying. If she were to know that all of this was just an act for them to see, she would definitely collapse. Yi Hua flicked away the cigarette butt and said gravely, "It is better for you to speak less of these flattering words. Let's see who's more powerful. Let me test the depth of your martial arts." Wei Chang slowly walked out. Everyone in Voidless Realm held their breaths. From the very start, this shadowy figure had not moved at all. This shadowy figure might be the most terrifying existence in the entire Voidless Realm. "Yi Hua, don't go," Dong Huang Baiji said anxiously. Yi Hua still didn't turn his head around and said faintly, "I will bring you two home later." 1,000 words cannot compare to a family. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji were truly moved by Yi Hua. Right now, they were willing to do whatever Yi Hua wanted them to do. Yi Hua slowly floated into the sky, and a long blade appeared in his hand. The blade was emitting out killing intent, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. As expected of an expert. "If your excellency is able to win against me, I will retreat." Wei Chang began walking according to the script. Yi Hua snorted, "Want to leave? How can it be that easy?" After finished speaking, Yi Hua slashed down with his blade. Wei Chang shouted out loudly, "Come at me. Your Excellency's martial arts indeed astonish me. Ha! To be able to block my blade, I will consider you to be quite capable. Your Excellency, I am going to use my true abilities next." Just what I wanted. The two of them spoke according to their script, causing everyone below the stage to become extremely excited. Such a powerful duel, even if they were to just watch it, they would be able to comprehend something. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji's beautiful eyes were filled with worry. "Yi Hua, you must not get into any trouble. If you die, we won't be able to continue living on our own." If Yi Hua was able to hear their confession, he would definitely be excited to death. Lai Gu raised his head and looked at his honor and Wei Chang. Such good acting skills, no wonder Wei Chang left such an important role for me. If I were to play the role, I would definitely lose a lot of influence. Shadow flow consecutive slash. Yi Hua's hand trembled, and the golden blade light appeared exceptionally dazzling, seemingly as if it was going to connect the heaven and the earth, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. Wei Chang said with a deep voice, "Your Excellency's blade technique has already reached the acme of perfection, causing me to exclaim in admiration. However, it is still not enough." Dark acupoint. A black whirlpool could be seen condensing in front of Wei Chang, and the numerous blade lights were directly devoured by the whirlpool. Soon after, all of the blade lights were reflected back. The numerous blade lights that brought along destruction attacked towards Yi Hua. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji who were below the stage didn't dare to look anymore. Yi Hua shouted out coldly, "You dare to be impudent in front of me with insignificant skills." Yi Hua raised the blade in his hand high up and slashed down. A blade energy that was even more powerful than the previous blade energy emerged, and the color of the world changed. Wei Chang said faintly, "Your Excellency is indeed formidable, then I will not hold back anymore. Come. Let me see your strength. Your Excellency will have to be careful then." Wei Chang's body suddenly erupted with a power that could destroy the world, and the entire voidless realm was trembling. And under this terrifying power, the blade energy that Wei Chang sent out just now turned into thin air. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.